A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. K is for Kroger, C is for cut, B is for beef. KCB means Kroger cut beef, and Kroger cut beef means more meat for your money. It's a fact, ladies, and here's the reason Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. Before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Yes, that's before the meat is weighed and priced. So you can see that means more meat for your money. You get top U.S. government grades of beef, meat that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. You get a better value in top-grade beef. For example, when you buy a Kroger-cut porterhouse steak, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes the long, stringy end and excess waste before the steak is weighed and priced. You don't pay steak price for stringy meat and excess waste. Remember, whether you buy a steak or roast, you receive more meat, less waste. But see for yourself. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store and make it a rule to buy Kroger-cut beef and get more meat for your money. And now, Hearts in Harmony. The life of Penny Gibbs is full these days. She's busy planning a community center in memory of the late Barry Carlton, the man she had hoped to marry. Busy, too, shaping a possible career in the movies for little 6-year-old Julie Martin. But busy as she is, she manages time to listen to the troubles of her friends. This morning, Freddie Lang follows her into the living room after breakfast and says,
Say, Penny, I want to thank you for keeping quiet about that phone call I got last week.
Freddie, you asked me not to say anything, so I didn't.
Yeah, it was a big help, too. I was going to explain today what this was all about, but, well, now it's not necessary.
Freddie, you don't have to explain anything.
No, not now I don't. It's all taken care of. And I patched things up with Nora, too. She tell you?
No, she didn't. But I imagine things were all right again. Nora was cheerful this morning.
I don't know why I did such a dumb thing, Gibbsy. Walking out on Nora like that last night.
Well, I don't think you'll do it again.
I'm sure I won't. At least not for the same reason. I hope you didn't hate me too much.
Well, Freddie, I didn't like seeing Nora in tears, but otherwise what she did had no effect on me. I told Nora there was probably a reason for what she did.
Well, I hope you didn't say you knew there was a reason.
No, I didn't. That would have been telling something you asked me to keep to myself. Oh, you're sure the trouble's all cleared up? Huh?
Well, just about. I have to attend to one more thing, and then my worries are all over. Say, look, will you find out from Nora if she's really on the level about forgiving me, or if she's just putting on an act?
You can be sure she isn't acting, Freddie. She wasn't angry because you talked harshly to her.
No?
She wasn't even angry because you walked out on her. She was just upset and puzzled. You couldn't imagine what she'd done to you or said to you to make you angry.
Well, it was a darn fool thing to do, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't smart. Actually, you should have told Nora what was troubling you.
No, I guess so. I thought of that as I was walking down the street, Gibbsy. In fact, I almost came back to apologize and tell her what the trouble was.
No, but just almost.
I'm glad it was only almost, too. The way things turned out, I won't have to tell her at all now. And I don't want to
Freddie,
either.
no man has trouble so great he can't bring them to his wife. Especially if she's the kind of wife Nora is.
Say, look, I'm not trying to keep secrets from Nora. I just want to... Oh, well, the problem isn't important enough, and I don't want her to worry.
Yeah, well, you did make her worry last night by not telling her.
Well, that was last night. And I fixed it up when I came back. Now the problem isn't even worth...
You keep speaking of the problem as if it still exists, Freddie. I thought you said it was solved.
Well, I have. It's all over now, including the shouting.
Oh, well, I hope so.
Say, look, Gibbsy, I quit lying to you a long time ago.
I know you did, Freddie. I wasn't implying that you weren't telling the truth. I just hope that you weren't fooling yourself by thinking you had solved something that isn't solved.
There are a lot of things I can't handle, Penny. But this was one of the things that I could handle, and I did.
I'm glad to know that.
You think I'm not glad, too? Gosh, at first I didn't think I could do it. And it wasn't easy, either, but You're just about to pop because you don't know what it's all about, aren't you?
Well, I'm sure if you don't want me to know, or if it'll do any good for me to know, you tell me.
Well, someday I will. And like I said to Nora last night, we're all going to get a big laugh out of it.
Well, we usually do laugh at our troubles of the past, but some of them don't sink into the past too readily.
Yeah, I know just what you mean. Gosh, I've got a lot of nerve yapping about my own troubles, Gibbsy, when you've got enough of them to promote a full-fledged case of hysterics.
I'm past the stage of hysterics, Freddie. I'm beyond the danger of tears, even. Tears won't wash away the memory of Barry's death. And strange as it sounds, I don't want to lose that memory.
You don't? Well, how come?
Because that'd be losing the memory of Barry, too. And I don't want to forget him. Freddie, knowing Barry was one of the finest things that ever happened to me. He'll always be my fondest memory. Now, should I give that up?
No, I guess not. Not if you look at it that way.
I think it's a good way to look at it, don't you?
Yeah, sure, but I guess I'm the wrong guy to talk to about things like that. You know, Gibbsy, I'm not as dumb as I used to be, but I'm still not too deep. Hey, look, it's getting late. I got to get out to the farm. Can I drop you off somewhere?
Oh, no, thanks, Freddie. I'll be home most of the day. As soon as Nora's through in the kitchen, she has to go downtown for some things, so I'll be nursemaid.
Oh, well, I'll see you tonight.
All right, bye, Freddie.
So long. Oh, and tell Nora not to get potholders downtown, will you? I saw some at the store near the farm, and they're much cheaper.
Yeah, I'll tell her, Freddie.
Hey, Gibbsy, some mail out here.
Oh, good. The early morning mail. I guess it's near the postman room.
Well, the postman always rings twice, Penny, but maybe he's so tired he's decided not to ring it off for a while.
Maybe that's it. Thanks. Bye.
So long now.
Jed? Jed?
Yes, Penny?
There's a letter for you from Chicago. I'll bring it in to you.
Well, I got myself so tangled up in this drawing board I can't move my wheelchair.
Yeah, look what I have. A letter from South Africa.
Ooh.
From Johnny.
Well, it's about time you heard from him.
John, it's here's your letter from Chicago, by the way.
Oh, that's not important. Just a check from the Slum Clearance Project. I'm just about winding up the plans for it, too. That's what I'm working on now.
Yeah, those drawings look awfully complicated.
Yeah, it's going to be a big building, Penny, with all the latest construction tricks and innovations. I've never taken such pride in anything I've ever done. I don't know why, unless, well, maybe it's because it's a building with a purpose.
Maybe it's because out of those drawings and stuff, all the architects and designers in the country that sent those things in, that you were chosen to draw the plans.
Yes, I'll have to admit that's part of the reason. But whatever the reason, this is one job that means a lot. I'm looking forward to the day it's finished. And, Penny, I'm going to go out to Chicago for the opening. That's how proud I am of this job. I've been inspired. It's the best work I've ever done. The best I'll ever do.
Oh, nonsense. You do others just as good, maybe better.
No. I've put everything I have into this. After this, there won't be any more. Why am I running on like this when you want to read that letter from Johnny?
The letter can wait, Jane.
Yes, like a wall of water behind a broken dam.
Oh, I seem to be rushing like floodwaters,
Just let me know how he's doing, and say, save that stamp for me. I want to send it to Harry Bleecker. He collects those things.
Okay. You can have the envelope right now. Here you go.
Oh, thanks. Postmark Cape Town, Union of South Africa. Certainly sounds far away, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Well, you want to hear what he has to say?
Well, I have ears the size of a donkey if I don't hear something soon.
Okay. Johnny says, Dear Penny.
Now, that's interesting.
No comment. Dear Penny, you would have heard from me long before this, but my uncle's lawyers have kept me busy 24 hours a day since I arrived in Cape Town. And this is the first 5 minutes I've had to myself since I got off the plane.
I wonder if those lawyers are Zulus or mumbo-jumbos from the Congo.
Stop it, you. He says, I told you when I left Rossville, and today Rossville seems a million miles away, that I might never come back. Well, if I do come back, it won't be for a long, long time. I'm quite sure I'll be here for years, Penny. My uncle left a large estate, a considerable fortune, and thousands of acres of productive land that need supervision. And it was my late uncle's wish that one of his family live on the land and manage it.
More of our friends are turning into farmers. First it was Freddie, and now it's Johnny.
Yeah.
And all we have is a flower path.
Well, he goes on to say, Cape Town's an interesting city, Penny, and what I've seen of South Africa is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it here instantly, and I grow to like it more every day. Life and the people are different here. There's an ease and quiet about both that are comforting, inviting, and relaxing. You'd like it here, Penny. I'd like to have you here.
Well, an invitation.
Might do you good, Penny. In Rossville, what do you do but have memories of the past and ghosts haunting the present? Here you could so easily forget. Here you could surely build a new life and have a future, a rich, full life among good people in interesting surroundings.
It makes it sound interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
At the end of the letter?
Just part. He finishes by saying, Penny, from this distance I have the courage to say it, and I have hope that it will not be said in vain. Come to Cape Town and be Mrs. Keith. I can do things for you now that I couldn't do before. I'm what you might call a man of great means. But I can offer you more than mere wealth, Penny. I can promise you love and understanding, and guarantee that here, Rossville, and all the tragic memories which must haunt you every day will be forgotten. Loved, Johnny.
If I were you, Penny, I'd pack my suitcase and be on my way.
Oh, no. No, I'm staying here, Jed, with you and Mother, with my plans and with my memories. Oh, what about your letter from Chicago?
No, it's just a check and further instructions. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a check, all right, and a letter. We can use that check, too.
We sure can.
What's this? The check is 3 times as much as it ought to be.
Well, maybe you're getting a bonus. What does the letter say?
Oh, I'm reading it now. Yeah. Well, it's brief and to the point.
Oh, Jed, no. No, they can't give up the project.
They can, and they have. And there goes my job and my dream. Take these drawings into the living room and throw them in the fireplace, will you?
Hello?
Good afternoon, Penny. This is Paul Williams.
Oh, hello, Paul. Where are you, in town?
No, I'm at the general store near the farm. Where's Freddie?
At the farm, isn't he? He left the house early this morning.
Oh, he hasn't been at the farm all day.
Oh, that's strange. I don't understand that. He left after breakfast, said he was going straight to the farm. Paul, he hasn't been in an accident, has he?
No, I just saw a state trooper about that. He says there's been no accident on the highway or in town that he knows of. What do you think's happened to the boy? He said he'd be at the farm by 9 this morning. It's 3 in the afternoon now.
I don't know. I don't know what's happened to Freddie. But I certainly hope it isn't what I think it is.
So Freddie hasn't appeared at the farm all day, and Jed Billings has lost his job. What's happened to Freddie? And will Jed's disappointment have any effect on his health? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. KCB, KCB. KCB means Kroger Cut Beef, and Kroger Cut Beef means more meat for your money. Yes, Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat, less waste, because before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. In buying Kroger Cut Rib Roast, for example, you don't pay rib roast price for excess bone and waste. The chine bone is trimmed, the waist and short rib end removed, giving you top U.S. government grades of beef that's tender, juicy, rich red, and marbled with just the right amount of flavory fat. And before the meat is weighed and priced, the Kroger method of cutting beef removes excess bone, waste, and stringy ends. Remember, whether you buy a steak or a roast, Kroger Cut Beef gives you more meat for your money. But mind you, you can get Kroger Cut Beef only at your neighborhood Kroger store. So go there as soon as you can. Step up to the meat counter and ask for Kroger Cut Beef. You'll get delicious and juicy and tender beef. And you'll get more meat, less waste. That means you get more meat for your money at your Kroger store. Listen again tomorrow. Same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
This is Nightline, your open door to people and places, and this is Walter O'Keefe. Nightline invites you to listen in on NBC's award-winning science fiction series X-1. Now escape to a world of the future.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Tsylana by James E. Gunn. But first, hear this. Now, X-1. Our story, Tsylana by James E. Gunn.
My name is Norman Blake, statistician, first class. At 2:30 p.m. on Monday, October 21st, in the year 2055, I became a deviant. I left my job an hour early. To deviate from the norm was unheard of in a perfectly adjusted society such as ours. Thanks to the great psychologist Kinder, we had a society where everybody's job suited his talents and needs, where children were raised scientifically, and where everyone lived happily on an even keel instead of swinging back and forth from gloom to ecstasy. Then I noticed it, the single flaw in the perfect system.
Come in. Yes, Norm.
Henry, I'd like to talk to you for a moment, privately.
Close the door. It's rather unusual for me to see one of my statisticians privately, but since we're old friends...
Something rather serious has come up.
Oh?
As you know, my duty is to check the computers to make certain there are no deviations.
Yes?
This morning, I ran over the figures for our district. Here is the sheet. The deviation is near the bottom.
1,037 gallons of water purified, 1,037 gallons consumed, 9,328 births, 9,328 deaths. I see nothing wrong so far.
Read the next item.
One candy bar taken from baby. Well?
Don't you see? A baby can't consent. Therefore, it must have been taken without consent. Henry, that is theft. We haven't had a case of theft in this society for almost 29 years.
I see.
It's got me so upset I can't think of anything else.
You're a little edgy, aren't you?
Well, wouldn't you be if you knew there was an antisocial being walking the streets of your own city?
I don't think I'd quite go to pieces like that. Maybe, well, this is just a suggestion. Maybe you ought to see an analyst. Perhaps it would help you deal with this problem.
I've been analyzed.
How long ago?
8 years.
Well, unless you're prepared to handle this problem, I'd advise you to get some help. Meanwhile, take the rest of the afternoon off.
Off? Deviate from the schedule?
As director, and as an old friend of yours, I order it. I consider you to be in extreme upset.
That's your order?
That's my order.
I must confess that as I went toward the elevator, a line kept running through my head. Norm has departed from the norm. I was doing something unorthodox. And what frightened me was that it amused me. Here I was, leaving work 1 hour early. I was so preoccupied that I stepped into the elevator without noticing that someone was already in it. An invasion of privacy almost unforgivable. He was a small, strange-looking man with short silver hair and thick, round glasses. Oops, I beg your pardon. I didn't really know you were...
Perfectly all right, stranger.
I'll just step out and...
Hold it, brother. You've got troubles, I can see.
Well,
My advice to you is see an analyst. Don't wait another 24 hours.
Thank you for the advice.
That's more than advice, brother. It's a commercial. Here's my card. Andrew C. Rednick, public analyst.
Oh, you're an analyst.
Freelance.
I didn't know there were any.
I'm probably one of the few still practicing. My slogan is, don't kid with your id. If life ain't dandy, come see Andy.
I may be up to see you.
You will, I can tell.
I put on my public face, the mask we wear on the street, and rode home in the proper manner, my arms and hands folded. When I got home, my wife, Nada, was in her room. I signaled on the intercom in case she was, entertaining. She wasn't. She never did. Sometimes I wondered if Nada was quite normal and well-adjusted. Hello, darling.
Is something wrong? Why are you home so early?
I just uncovered a crime wave.
A what?
A crime wave. A theft. Candy. From a baby.
Is that serious?
It threatens the entire structure of our society. We have a delicately balanced mechanism here. We're not ready for crime. We don't even know how to catch a criminal.
Isn't there an old saying, it takes a thief to catch a thief?
It takes a... Darling, that's it. That's the answer to our problem.
What is?
In order to protect society, I've got to catch the thief. And the only way to do it, obviously, is to become one myself.
You're listening to Tsylana, tonight's attraction on X-1. Now, back to X-1 and Tsylana.
The address on the card was a deserted skyscraper, a pre-analytic building. The elevators were out of order, and I had to climb 29 flights of stairs. Finally, I was in front of a door that read, Andrew C. Rednick, public analyst. Grin and come in. Mr. Rednick?
It ain't Santa Claus, brother.
Who?
You wouldn't remember. Park your ego. Now, boy, what's your problem?
I've got to do something, and it isn't in my psychological profile.
That's the trouble with this society. Nobody's capable of handy unexpected.
Are you saying there's an advantage to being unadjusted?
Don't second-guess the analyst, boy. If you mean by advantage, will you be happier? No. But if you mean power, then you've got it. In a country of normal people, the neurotic man is king. You want to be king, boy?
Of course not. I'm perfectly happy and well-adjusted except for one little problem.
Namely?
I've got to catch a thief.
So?
So I've got to know how a thief thinks and feels, what he does, where he goes.
You mean you want to become neurotic?
Exactly.
This is a rather unorthodox request.
I suppose it is.
I could lose my license if anyone found out.
If you don't do it, it could mean the end of society and civilization.
As bad as that, eh? Very well.
Start at once?
Why not? Sit at my desk while I lie down on the couch and tell you about my childhood.
You lie down? I'm the one that's supposed to lie down.
You forget this is reverse analysis. I'm supposed to make you neurotic, frustrated. Now then, the first thing I remember was an argument between my father and mother.
You were living with your own father and mother? Ooh, how unhygienic. What a nasty situation.
You aren't very good at this sort of thing, are you, boy? You're supposed to listen, not comment. Now then, when I was 27, I perfected analysis and revolutionized society.
What are you talking about? Kinder perfected analysis and revolutionized society. He died.
Don't second-guess the analyst.
You know, I'm beginning to dislike you already.
Fine. We're making progress already. You're beginning to experience dislike. Next, we'll achieve hatred, and then loathing. In 3 weeks, you'll be well on the road to becoming a crook.
Every day for the next week, Rednick lay comfortably on his red leather couch, rambling about his childhood and his problems, while I longed to tell him about my own. I grew more and more repressed, and my disposition became worse and worse. On the 8th day, something happened at the office that made me realize I had to hurry.
Come in.
Henry, it's happened.
What?
The thief has struck again, but this time it's even more serious.
What did he take?
$1 million is missing from the First District Bank.
Great Scott.
We've got to find this thief, Henry. We're doomed if we don't.
Well, maybe he's worked out his repressions. After all, what can a man steal after he's stolen $1 million?
I don't know, but I intend to find out.
Maybe you ought to drop it, Norm.
How can you say a thing like that? It's positively antisocial.
Calm down now. You're all upset again. Why don't you take the day off and go home? Spend some time with that lovely wife of yours. She misses you.
How do you know?
Norm, boy, do I detect a note of jealousy? You'd better watch your step. Jealousy is the forerunner of violence. Are you seeing an analyst, as I suggested?
Yes, I am.
Well, keep at it, boy. You're in bad shape.
I kept at it. By the time the annual status examinations were due, I was a complete wreck. I hated Andrew Rednick with a passion. I was ambitious and jealous. I had even sunk to that basest of all passions. I had fallen in love with my own wife. And still I had not been able to ferret out the thief. He had not struck again.
Ah, you're early, son.
So I'm early.
You'll have to wait. I have another patient.
What?
You'll have to wait. I have another patient in the other room. He'll be leaving in a minute. Just sit down.
Another patient. I could have killed him. Never occurred to me that Andrew C. Rednick would have another patient. After a few moments, a man emerged from the inner office. He was wearing a silver mask or public face, and naturally I couldn't see his features. As I had my own mask on, he didn't see my features either, but I sensed a certain hostility as he brushed by me.
Come in, son.
Who is he?
Take it easy. We don't reveal the names or identities of patients.
I hate him.
You're jealous.
Jealous? As a matter of fact, I've been thinking of quitting the analysis.
Good. This is your last session anyway.
My last session? But it can't be. The annual examinations are coming up tomorrow. I am not ready. I'll be demoted to a menial job.
I doubt it.
I told you I'm not ready. What can I do?
Have you ever thought of cheating?
On the examination? That's horrible. Only a monster could suggest such a thing. What kind of man are you? Who are you, Rednick?
Let me close the door. Now, look through the glass at my sign. You can read it backwards with the door closed.
Andrew Rednick. Rednick backwards. Kinder? You? Oh, it's impossible. He's the founder of our whole society. Besides, he's dead. He died in an accident.
All staged. I just decided to duck out.
Why?
Because, my friend, I found I had created a Frankenstein, a perfect society. It was like paradise, a Garden of Eden. The same silly people, happy, not wanting anything, not going anyplace, and not changing. So I decided to create a little sin, and thereby give the creatures change, growth, misery, ecstasy, and free will. In a sense, I made them creative. Well, son, au revoir.
But am I really finished?
You're just beginning. Your frustrations are like rabbits, boy. They just keep breeding. I'm the one who's finished.
He clapped his hat on his head and walked out, leaving me alone in his office. When I walked over to his desk, I found a gun lying on top of it. I put it in my pocket and returned to my office. The next 5 hours were spent in statistically predicting the questions I would be asked on the annual examination and in finding out the answers in advance. Then I went home.
Darling, how did it go?
Nada, take a good look at your husband. See anything different?
Well, I've been noticing a change for the past few weeks.
You're going to notice a much bigger change, sweetheart. Tomorrow, the new appointments will be made based on the results of the annual examination.
Did you do well?
Did I do well? Read this card.
The enclosed card has a magnetic reproduction of your new psychological profile. It indicates you are in the 99th percentile of leadership with the second highest altruism rating ever scored. Therefore, a new position has been created for you. Beginning tomorrow, you will be Deputy Mayor of the district. Deputy, darling, it's wonderful.
Yes, I dare say it is. Only one thing troubles me.
What's that?
I can't understand how anybody scored higher than I did. I'd counted on becoming mayor. The following day, I reported to the office of the new mayor of our district, the only person who had scored higher than I on the annual examination. I was ushered in promptly. The new mayor was seated behind a huge desk. He wore his public face mask. Mr. Mayor, I'm Norman Blake, the new deputy.
Yes, we've met, you know.
Oh, I'm afraid
Let me remove my public face. There.
Henry Foreman.
I'm amazed you didn't guess sooner.
How?
Quite simple. You and I, dear fellow, have unstable patterns. With me, the first break came the day I took that bar of candy from the baby as I was passing the nursery. My own act frightened me so that I sought an analyst. The same analyst you sought.
Rednick,
Kinder, it's all the same.
And you were the thief, and I never...
It takes one to know one, Norm.
You cheated on the exam, too.
Using the computer, just as you did.
Are there any others like us?
I don't know. We'll find out, though. We're ambitious, you and I. That means we'll be moving up, heading for the governorship, perhaps even the presidency. And then we'll collide with the others, if there are any. As Rednick said, in a world of normal people, the neurotic is king.
The only trouble with that is there can only be one king.
That's right. And only one mayor.
The look he gave me then sent chills up and down my spine. In spite of my high position, I haven't had a moment's peace or relaxation since. Neither, I suspect, has Henry Foreman. There were imbalances in our world which had to lead to the destruction of one or all of us, and we knew it. There was one saying that Rednick Kinder had forgotten to tack up on his wall. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
Fred Collins again, and I'll have another word for you about X-1 in a moment. The attention of the nation is focused on Los Angeles and New York, the cities where two long-awaited World Championship boxing matches will take place. The ears of the nation will be tuned to Cavalcade of Sports on NBC Radio, the only network that will bring you both these championship bouts. Friday night, Archie Moore versus Tony Anthony for the light heavyweight crown. Monday night, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Carmen Basilio for the world's middleweight title. And you'll hear them both direct from ringside only on Cavalcade of Sports on NBC Radio. Yes, Friday night, light heavyweight champ Archie Moore pits his skill and experience against the youth and stamina of Tony Anthony. Monday night, Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the greatest boxers in history, defends his middleweight crown against Carmen Basilio. Two great championship fights, Friday night, Moore versus Anthony, Monday night, Robinson versus Basilio. Both brought to you direct from ringside on Cavalcade of Sports, exclusively on these same NBC radio stations. You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Morning After by Robert Sheckley. What was Pearson doing here? Would he live or die? For the answers to these and other questions, he had to keep tuning in on a hangover. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. X-1 has brought you Tsylana, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James E. Gunn and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in our cast were Walter Black as Norman Blake, David Ross as Andrew C. Rednick, Adele Ronson as Nada, and Guy Rep as Foreman. This is Fred Collins speaking. X-1 was directed by George Voutsas and is an NBC Radio Network production.
There's excitement in the air at night, and Nightline brings it to you. Hear Nightline with Walter O'Keefe, next on most of these NBC stations.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, The Native Problem by Robert Sheckley. But first, hear this.
This is Marion Baker of Atlanta, Georgia. As a teacher, there is a problem that I feel quite acutely. I know most of you think I'm speaking of low salaries or inadequate school facilities. True, both of these situations should be remedied. But actually, what I would like to speak to you about is something which should be quite close to you as parents. Each day in your community, there are quite probably children who will miss valuable days in school simply because of preventable illnesses. It's all very easy to speak of the normal winter cold, but such things as hot breakfasts, good lunches, adequate clothing, and shoes can do more than any yet-to-be-discovered miracle drug in keeping our children warm and healthy and in class. Look into your school system this fall when your youngsters go back to school, but give equal consideration to the way in which you look after your children's needs.
Now, X minus 1, and tonight's story, The Native Problem.
To begin with, my name is Edward Danton. I've always been a misfit. Oh, that's all right. I'm not sensitive about it. In fact, I've grown rather proud of it. I just don't fit in the modern 22nd century world. There was no place in all of New York City, from Norfolk to Bangor, where I felt at home. And it was the same in every other great city complex on Earth. In school, I took such elementary subjects as group acculturation, sibling fit, values recognition, and folkways judgment. There was only one thing to do. As practically every misfit in the past century had done, I decided to migrate to deep space and find a place where I could call my soul my own. I told my best friend Al Trevor of my plan.
Good night. You're really going, Ed?
That's right, Al. Just as far from this solar system as I can get.
But why, man?
You've played 12-handed bridge with me, Al. You know what a dope I am at mass dancing. I'm a misfit. I want to get away. And it's not like in the days when the ships used the old Michelson drive. With these new GM subspatial torque converters where we can travel in a matter of months what used to take them 30 or 40 years.
Well, I hate to see you go.
One more thing, Al. I'm going to give you my breeding certificate.
Oh, now, Ed, we couldn't let you do
You and
that.
Myrtle want 2 children, don't you?
Well, we've always wanted to have 2, but you mustn't...
I won't need a breeding certificate where I'm going. As a matter of fact, I may even find it impossible to breed at all.
Well, that could be rather frustrating, old man.
Well, maybe after a while I'll find a girl pioneer. In the meantime, there's always sublimation.
True. What substitute have you selected?
Vegetable gardening. Might as well be practical, you know.
Might as well. Well, old man, good luck, and thanks for that breeding certificate.
The next day, I took off for the stars on a government ship. The spot I picked was out in what they call the New Territories. The planet I finally settled for was ideal. A calm, watery place dotted with fertile islands, blessed with a mild, uniform climate, and absolutely uninhabited. When they left me there, I took formal possession and christened the place New Tahiti for obvious reasons. At first, it was fine. I was busy exploring, growing vegetables, and building a shelter. After that, though, time began to drag. I had to do something. But what? I was marooned on this deserted planet, and it might be years before another Earthship would land here. And then, miraculously, it happened. A ship came out of the skies and headed for a landing on my own private island. It was an ancient Mickelson Drive job, battered and scored, but bearing a proud legend painted on its nose. The Hutter people, it read. When the ship landed on the beach, I ran out to meet it, forgetting that I must have looked more like a naked savage than a fellow Earthman. Hey, there in the ship!
Stop where you are!
Welcome to New Tahiti. Boy, am I glad to see you folks. What's the latest news from...
Stand back there. Take another step and I'll shoot.
What, is something wrong?
What's your name?
Edward Danton. What's yours?
Simeon Smith, military commander of the Hutter people. And this is Jedediah Franker, my second in command.
How come you speak English, boy?
Me? Why, I've always spoken English.
Where are the others? Where are they hiding?
There aren't any others. Just me.
I see.
Father, can't we come out now?
No, get back in the ship, Anita.
Then I'll watch from here.
Say, she's pretty. Your daughter?
Huh.
What do you think, Simeon?
It's what I expected. Ingratiating, fawning, undoubtedly treacherous.
Yeah.
His people won't show themselves, you notice? Probably waiting in ambush. I think an object lesson is in order.
Right. Put the fear of civilization into them.
Hey, don't point that gun at me.
Father, no, he hasn't done anything yet.
This way the others will know we mean business.
It isn't right.
Let him have it, Jedediah.
No, wait!
Wait! Hey! He's running for the woods. Shoot him, Jedediah. Okay. Shoot him. We've got to teach these savages who's boss.
You're listening to The Native Problem, tonight's attraction on X-1. Friends, for as many years as any of us can remember, the sadness that polio has brought to so many homes has been almost unparalleled. But a greater sadness than this lies ahead for any who may from now on catch polio, because it may be due to carelessness. Vaccination against polio, the well-known Salk shots, is more than 75% effective. And it's due to such vaccination that there was a drop of 47% in polio cases last year. 5 million have had as much as one shot of the vaccine. And please remember that while the first and second shots are helpful, the third shot is necessary for maximum protection. Now, there's plenty of vaccine, and the doctors are anxious to cooperate. Remember, the end of polio is at hand, but it takes 3 visits to the doctor to lick it. Can you afford not to go? Now, back to X-1 and The Native Problem.
I was just plain lucky to get back to the friendly cover of the forest without stopping a bullet. It was obvious these people were too jumpy just then to listen to reason and believe me when I told them that I was not a native, that I was all alone here. I decided to wait a while. About dusk, I crept through the woods to get as near their ship as I could without being seen. They had come out of their ship. There were several dozen men and women, and a few children. They were grouped around a campfire eating. On the edges of the group were several armed men looking toward the woods with apprehension. I watched while their leader, Simeon, stepped into the circle of firelight to address them. I could hear everything he said plainly.
Friends, we have come at last to our long-awaited home, our promised land. Behold, a land of milk and honey, a place of bounty and abundance. Was it not worth the long voyage, the constant peril, the endless search?
Yes, it was.
However, there is an aboriginal people here, naked and savage, undoubtedly cunning, ruthless and amoral, as aboriginals always are. Of these we must beware. We will live in peace with them if they will let us. No one can tell what goes on in a savage heart. Their standards are not ours. Their morals are not ours. We cannot trust them. We must be forever on guard. And if in doubt, we must shoot first. Remember, land too.
This was not going to be easy. I decided not to try another approach that night. The next morning, as they were bustling about unloading their spaceship, I walked down to the beach and headed straight for them with my hands held out to show them that they were empty. The sentry stopped me at the point of a gun, and in a minute, both Simeon and Jedekiah came running up, covering me with their weapons. I stood still, my flesh creeping in anticipation of the bullets someone might fire at me any minute.
So you have come back.
I'd like to explain.
I am the leader of these people. I am the big chief fella. You, big fella chief, your people?
There's no need to talk that way. I told you yesterday. I have no people. There's just me. I speak English.
Unless you're honest with me, you're going to regret. Now, where's your tribe?
I'm an Earthman. Are you deaf? Can't you tell by the way I talk?
Now, listen, you.
Excuse me, Simeon. I don't believe I have met your friend.
Professor Baker, this savage here claims to be an Earthman.
Oh? You are an Earthman?
That's right. My name is Edward Danton. Only a few months ago, I left Earth on a spaceship.
How was it powered?
By a GM subspatial torque converter.
What do you think, Professor?
It's amazing. Truly amazing. His grasp of colloquial English bespeaks a fairly high level of intelligence, which points up a phenomenon frequently met with in savage societies, namely, an unusually well-developed power of mimicry. Our friend Dante, as his original uncorrupted name must have been, will probably be able to tell us many tribal legends and myths.
Oh, come off it, Professor. I'm an Earthman.
No, my poor friend, you are not. Obviously, you have met an Earthman. Some trader, I dare say, stopping for repairs.
We saw signs that a spaceship once landed here, Professor.
Oh, confirmation of my hypothesis.
That was the government ship that dropped me off here.
It is interesting to note how his almost plausible story lapses into myth at various crucial points. He claims this ship was powered by a GM subspatial torque converter. Now, this is a nonsense syllabification, since the only deep space drive is the Nicholson. He also claims that the journey from Earth was made in a matter of months, since his untutored mind cannot conceive of a journey lasting for years. Yet we know that no space drive, even theoretically, can reach here from Earth in less than 30 or 40 years.
Then GM must have been developed after you left Earth. How long have you been gone?
The hover ship left Earth 120 years ago. We are mostly fourth and fifth generation.
Now, come on, Danta. Where's your tribe? Where are they hiding?
This is preposterous. What can I do to convince you I'm from Earth?
That's enough. We won't stand for back talk from natives. Where are your people?
There's only me.
Maybe a taste of the black snake whip will loosen his tongue.
Later, Jedekiah. His tribe will come around for handouts. Natives always do.
Then let's put him to work. Danta, you can join that work gang over there unloading supplies.
No, thanks. I'll go back.
Chief said no back talk. Why are you natives always so bone lazy? You'll be paid as soon as we unload the beads and calico. Now get to work.
What could I do? I joined the work gang and unloaded the ship. By late afternoon, we had finished. I sneaked off to sit beside a mountain spring near the ship. In a few minutes, Anita, the pretty girl I had noticed the day before, came and sat beside me.
Hello, Danta.
Oh. Anita, do you think I'm a native?
What else can I think? Everyone knows how fast a spaceship can travel.
Times have changed since your people left Earth. By the way, they weren't in space all that time, were they?
No, they originally settled on a planet called Land 2. But there was a native rebellion. We barely managed to escape.
In that case, I can understand why they're so nervous about aboriginals.
Oh, but don't worry, Dada. Things will be better when the council takes over.
Who are they?
A council of elders. They're men of goodwill who detest violence. And if you and your people are really peaceable...
I haven't any people.
Yes, I know. But if you and your people are really peaceable, you're sure to prosper under the rule of the elders.
It was no use. I couldn't even convince her. But as we sat together and talked, I began to forget my problems. I was enchanted by her. And I think she liked me, too. After a while, as though it were the most natural thing in the world, she was in my arms, and I was kissing her.
What's going on here?
Oh, Jedediah.
You're a disgrace to your people. Are you out of your mind, girl? You can't mess around with a dirty native and keep your self-respect.
Now, just a minute, you...
Shut up! As for you, you've got to learn something and learn it good. Natives don't fool around with hotter women. I'm going to impress that little lesson on you right here and now.
Jedediah, don't!
I've had enough from you.
Martha, you struck him.
He tried to hit me first. Get up, Jedediah. You're not hurt.
Oh, jaw. Help! Help! The natives are revolting! Help!
Well, that did it. People began to shout and run all over the place. Anita tried to calm them down, but it was no use. I took to the brush just before they turned a machine gun on me. And all that night I hid, while armed parties went crashing through the woods, shouting and firing at shadows. It was a nightmare.
There goes one.
Quick! They're behind us. Turn the machine gun.
Got him!
No, they got away. Look there in the trees. Fire, man, fire!
It was like that all night long. By morning I was exhausted, and so were they. I hid in the jungle and waited. I don't know what for. And then, along about the middle of the day, I saw Anita. I thought she was alone at first, and I knew she was looking for me. I stepped out in the trail in front of her.
Oh, it's you, Danta.
Anita, there are men back there.
It's all right. They won't harm you. They came to guard me. Danta, are you all right?
Guard you from me?
They don't know you as I do. At the council meeting today, I told them the truth.
You did?
I told them the fight wasn't your fault. I told them you were only defending yourself. And Jedediah lied. No pack of natives attacked him. It was only you. And I told them this.
At last. Did they believe you?
Oh, yes. I explained that the native attack came later.
Native attack? Now, look, there wasn't any attack, Anita. There couldn't be. There aren't any natives. I could tell right then it was no use trying to convince anyone, even the girl I loved. It was then that I decided back to her people and waited for a time just to make them nervous. Then the next morning I came striding into the middle of the Hutter camp.
Halt! One step more and I'll kill you.
I want to see Simeon.
All right, Jedediah, I'll take over. Here I am, Danta.
Shall I shoot him, Simeon?
No, let him speak. Go on, Danta. What is it?
I have come here to bring you a declaration of war.
What?
I'll kill him now.
What is it? What happened? Oh, Danta, what is it?
It's war.
But I begged with you to bring peace to your people.
They wouldn't listen. It's war. All the tribes are gathering from every outlying island.
How many are there?
Many thousands, 50 or 60. We will fight to the death.
Danta, wait. Surely we can reach an agreement. Why shed all this blood?
There is a way.
I thought so. What do you want?
Equal rights.
Yes. What else?
That is all. Except, naturally, an alliance between the ruling clan of the Hutters and the ruling clan of New Tahiti. In short, a marriage.
Never. We'll fight, even though we're wiped out.
We can't. We wouldn't have a chance. Accept, Father. Accept before it's too late.
How can I accept? Where could I find a Hutter woman who would sacrifice herself for a marriage like that?
Why don't you ask me?
So it came about. Anita and I were married and were very happy. The Hutters, too, prospered in their new land, and soon they began to build up a thriving new civilization. Anita and I and our family moved to one of the more remote islands, where we weren't so much in the thick of things. Sometimes people would come to see us, ask me to talk about my people, and I would tell them how they could not stand the white man's civilization, and how they died off, all but me. It always made them feel very guilty, and somehow I liked to watch them squirm. As I said, I've always been a misfit.
Fred Collins again. I'll have another word about X-1 in a moment. X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Break a Leg by Jim Harmon. The man worthwhile couldn't be allowed to smile. If he ever laughed at himself, the entire ship and crew were as good as dead. Read it in Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. X-1 has brought you The Native Problem, a story written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by William Welch. Featured in the cast were John Thomas, Joseph Boland, James Dukas, Ellen Muir, Charles Webster, and Alan Bergman. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was an NBC Radio Network production.
The Gregory party is very near to their home port at last. Captain Bradford is standing in the bow of the small boat with which Johnson rescued them, talking to Johnson as they thread their way carefully through the small shipping of the outer basin. In the stern, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are talking as the boat glides into the harbor under sail. It is just before midnight of a very dark night. The harbor is unusually quiet as the small boat drifts easily before a 5-mile wind.
Oh, but Joan, I don't see how anything can happen to us now. Oh, we're nearly home.
We are some few miles from our anchorage, and then a drive by motor of more than 20 miles, it says.
That's right, Joan, but surely the danger is past now.
I am not so sure of that.
Oh, forget it, Joan. You act like these Euclideans could do just as they please, all over the world. We got away from them, didn't we?
We did.
Then all their smart science and inventions didn't do them so much good after all.
You seem to forget that it was in a Euclidean submarine we made our escape, and our present safety is due to the perfection of Euclidean devices, which made it possible to leave that submarine far below the surface and rise to this boat.
Of course you're right, Joan. Euclideans are very clever, but after all, they can't always win.
You bet they can't. And 2 hours from now, we'll be safe at Mrs. Gregory's home.
I am anxious to see your home, Mother.
Your home, Joan, dear.
Yeah, and I'd kind of like to see my dad. Gee, you know, we've been going 3 months now, and I haven't had a chance to even send him a postcard.
Well, I think you'll find that Johnson has kept your father informed of our doings, Jerry.
I sure hope Dad doesn't know all that's happened to us, or he'd be plenty worried.
There is something very strange to me in that sensation you describe as worry. Until you came to Euclidia, I had never heard the word used. Now I understand what it means, and I am beginning to learn how to worry.
Well, why bother to learn to worry? Gosh, most people do plenty of that without even trying to.
Joan is struggling to understand our way of living, Jerry.
I think I may like it after I'm familiar with it.
Oh, Mrs. Gregory.
Yes, Jerry?
May I take Joan out and show her Hollywood Boulevard right away?
Well, hardly tonight, Jerry. It'll be nearly morning by the time we arrive at home, and you must hurry to see your father first.
Oh, sure. I meant tomorrow night.
Well, we'll see how things work out.
What is Hollywood Boulevard, Mother?
That's where you see all the moving picture stars.
Moving picture stars?
Hollywood Boulevard, Joan, dear, is a street that wants a bit of knowing, and sometimes a great deal of understanding. But you'll enjoy it as you see it with Jerry.
I want to see the ladies' garments in the stores you have told me of, Mother.
Now, there's a job for you, Jerry. Take Joan around while she window shops in all the stores.
Oh, no, nothing doing. I'm not going to waste a lot of my time standing around while some girl looks at a lot of funny hats and dresses.
Well, I'll spare you that.
What is window shopping?
Gee whiz, Joan. I don't see how you ever got to be 15 years old and not learn anything.
Now, Jerry, Joan knows a great many things, even though they do constitute a strange education for our world.
Strange is right. Hey, Johnson and Tex are coming back here.
Yes, and they appear to be watching something in the sky.
Probably that Euclidean plane.
Oh, that plane. I had forgotten it.
Oh, so had I. But it looks like we're going to get a swell chance to remember.
I'd say it was the same plane, but I want to ask Joan.
What is it, Captain?
Johnson and I just discovered that there's a plane flying around over us.
too dark to see it, and they're not showing any lights. But I thought I heard them cruising around with a very quiet motor some time ago.
Oh, but those Euclidean planes don't sound the same as ours, do they, Joe?
In this case, they would.
In this case?
Oh, sure. You don't know these Euclideans like we do. They think nothing of carrying two kinds of engines in a plane.
How about that, Joe?
This plane is undoubtedly equipped with an ordinary motor, so they will excite no suspicion when heard cruising around over the harbor.
Well, I should think the fact that they're running without light would excite plenty of suspicion.
Yes, it will, but no one will know what to do about it.
Well, what do you suppose they're flying around over here for?
Well, I would say some attempt would be made to prevent our landing.
When these fellows make attempts, it's usually a pretty good try.
I think we are in no immediate danger.
Joan feels that the Euclideans are not going to do us any bodily harm. But we've seen so much of their power that it's rather hard to believe anything particularly nice about them.
Well, one thing is certain. With this harbor all full of battleships and a carrier in there with a lot of planes on it, they're certainly not going to resort to any firing or bomb dropping.
The Euclideans have many weapons that are practically noiseless.
Well, that plane isn't noiseless by a long shot. I can hear it coming back in right now.
They will attempt to frighten us, I believe.
Well, they won't have to try very hard for me. I scare easy when those Euclideans are around.
That plane is coming down awfully fast.
Yes, it's coming right over us.
Sounds like a power dive.
And I'll bet there'll be a bomb at the bottom of it.
Oh, what can we do?
Nothing. Just sit still and wait for what happens.
Well, they didn't hit us.
They didn't try to hit us.
They dropped something just as the plane passed over us, though. I'm sure of that.
Yes. I thought I heard something hit the water.
Have no fear. If they were using bombs, it would be only the magnetic type.
Got any metal on this boat, Johnson?
Not unless you brought it along with you. I even ripped out a small capstan to head forward.
Well, then we can keep moving. But if there's one little piece of metal on this boat, we'll stay right here.
Johnson, your anchor.
We have no anchor, Mrs. Gregory.
You are very thorough, Mr. Johnson.
It pays to be thorough in this sort of business.
Well, we seem to be going smoothly along, and nothing's happening.
Yep. But those fellows from the Magic Island fool you. Just when you think you've seen the whole show, they dig out one more trick.
Well, they must have dug one out then. Here they come back to try it out on us.
Sorry we haven't any protection on this little boat.
Oh, don't worry about that, Johnson. A battleship doesn't carry enough protection to save it from a Euclidean plane if they're attacking in earnest.
I would suggest we all sit perfectly still, make no move as the plane goes over, and concentrate on trying to discover their purpose in these repeated dives.
That's right, Joan. Now everybody sit still with your eyes wide open.
It's raining.
Sure, feels like it.
The cooling system in that plane must be leaking. I felt a fine, heavy spray, slightly warm as they passed over us.
Well, I'd say that wasn't accidental. They managed to cover us pretty thoroughly with it. And my clothing feels wet all over.
Yeah, my sleeves are... Say, well, that's funny.
What, Jerry?
My sleeves were wet, soaking wet, and now they're dry.
Why, you're right, Jerry.
They have used a chemical of some kind with which to spray this boat.
Well, what for, Joan?
The reason is not apparent to me as yet.
It can't be anything very destructive. It didn't burn where it touched the skin.
And it doesn't seem to be affecting the fabric of our clothing.
If we could only smell the blamed stuff, we might get an idea.
Euclideans are far too clever to allow an odor to identify any of their preparations.
Well, whatever this stuff is, I'll bet we find out a lot about it mighty quick. Look, that plane's coming back.
What can they do to us?
Anything they take a notion to, I guess.
I believe I understand the purpose of this liquid spray now.
Well, what is it, Joan?
I will not tell you.
Oh, but Joan...
No, Mother. If the effect will be as I think, you might do something foolish in attempting to escape from it when our greatest safety lies in doing nothing.
Well, I hope you know best, Joan. Here he comes.
Well, whatever you thought it was, Joan, you're wrong. He didn't do a blame thing to us.
Have you tried to move your hands?
Move our hands? Why, say, what is this?
Magnetism again.
Heck, I'm absolutely powerless. I can't move at all.
They sprayed us with that magnetic paint of theirs.
Precisely.
And this last time he dropped magnetic bombs all around us.
We had plenty of this sort of treatment on that island.
Well, tell me, how lasting is the effect?
That will depend on how many bombs were dropped in the water near us and what materials the bomb casings are made of. You will observe that the boat is no longer making any progress.
Oh, you're right, Joan. We're standing still, except for a little drift with the tide.
And we'll stand here until the solution from those bombs becomes so diluted in the water that it won't hold us?
Correct, Captain.
Well, that won't take long, will it, Joan?
I believe the pilot of that plane may have arranged that it will take several hours.
Several hours? Why, Joan, dear, that magnetic solution can't possibly stand up in water that long.
You would be right, Mother, if the solution was all formed at once. But I imagine some of those bombs were made to float and dissolve at certain intervals, continually generating fresh magnetism on their contact with the salt water.
Then, if that's the case, we may be here all night?
At least we may be here long enough for the submarine we left magnetized to free itself and come up after us.
Well, you mean to tell me that all we can do is just sit around here like a bunch of statues and let this boat drift around with us?
That is all.
Well, now I'm beginning to understand something of what you've all been through on that island.
Oh, we sure had plenty of weird things happen to us.
Look, that plane seems to be on his way now.
Yes. I can't hear it anymore. He must be going back to Euclidia.
I think that is correct.
But how do they refuel those things?
They don't much. We've learned a lot of things, Johnson. One of them is that we don't know anything about fuel or how to use it.
We'll get our hands on all those formulas when we go back to the Magic Island.
I'm not at all sure I want to go back, Jerry. Sometimes I feel that Euclidia is a very fascinating place, and at other times I hate it. Just now, I'm not very kindly disposed toward G47 and his men.
Oh, yes, his men. How about this fellow Thales? What did you finally do to get rid of him, Johnson?
I've never seen him.
Never seen him?
No, Mrs. Gregory.
Then you were right, Tex. That radio was wrecked by remote control.
Johnson, did you find your set burned up or melted down?
Both. Some highly caustic chemical was suspended near every vital part of the set. When I used it to warn you, it simply flowed over everything and put the set out of business.
But you mean to say, Johnson, you have no idea where Thales is or what he looks like?
No, not the slightest.
I have seen him on Euclidia. I would recognize him if I saw him again, I believe.
I hope you get a chance to point him out to me.
Oh, Tex, look.
What, Pat?
Well, that boat. See that big shadow off the port bow?
Gee, it's a great big oil tanker.
And he's bearing right down on us.
We are helpless.
None of us can make a move. They'll never turn that big boat in time.
Can't blame them. We haven't any lights, and I painted the sails black so we wouldn't be seen.
Tex, he's going to run us down.
We'll sure get it in a minute.
And we can't swim with this magnetic thing on
Worse
us.
than that, we will sink immediately.
He's almost on top of us.
When the small boat carrying Johnson and the Gregory party was run down by an oil tanker, things looked bad for our friends. Covered with magnetic paint, which had been sprayed on them from a Euclidean plane, all were powerless to help themselves in any way, and the little boat was badly smashed, throwing them into the water. However, they were all prepared as to what to do. As the boat broke up, each member of the party managed to get some part of their bodies across or on a piece of the boat, and the tanker put about at once and picked them up. Jerry, Captain Bradford, and Johnson are in the ship's radio cabin, while we find Mrs. Gregory and Joan wrapped in dry blankets in the captain's cabin.
Well, Joan, my dear, it seems to be a little hard for your mother to land in her own country.
Our progress has been rather erratic, Mother, but I feel we have done well to accomplish so much against the opposition of G47 and his Euclideans.
I agree with you. Escape certainly wasn't easy. But at last we're home, or nearly so.
This oil boat we are now on, is it taking us into the harbor?
Yes, Joan. Tex explained to the captain that there were a number of reasons why we didn't want to send in for a water taxi or a harbor patrol boat to come out after us.
There are many things I cannot understand about your world and the great secrecy with which you surround the most commonplace things. But one thing I like very much.
And what is that, dear?
Everyone seems so kind, so willing to aid everyone else. Your personal comfort means a great deal. Here we are on a strange boat. We did not know the captain. He did not know us. And he was out of the harbor on the beginning of a long cruise. Yet he is returning us safely to the landing.
Why, of course, dear. His boat ran into us, didn't it?
Which was entirely our fault.
Well, granted, but common courtesy on the high seas would demand that he take us to a place of safety.
And the captain allows us to use his own cabin. We are given his warm blankets to keep us dry and comfortable.
You have lived in a hard, cruel atmosphere, Joan.
I did not know that until you came and told me of another manner of life. You are showing me many nice things, Mother.
And you are showing us some nice things, Joan. Just the everyday, commonplace things that we have so many of in our world, and which are really very precious privileges, for which we forget to appreciate. You're teaching me a new respect for the comforts in my world.
And Mr. Johnson, he is so obviously a gentleman, and yet he guards your interests as closely as if he were in your employ.
Well, Johnson is, in a sense, an employee, but he was Captain Bradford's first sergeant in the war, and he's been with me for 14 years. Johnson is almost one of my family.
Mother, what does rich mean?
Rich? Well, don't you know that simple word, Joan?
I know what it means to the scientists. They often speak of some mineral or metal being rich in certain properties. But I think there must be another meaning.
Well, what are you trying to figure out there?
Well, I am not sure. But Jerry once told me that you were a very rich woman. Does that mean you are rich in mineral properties or rich in food value?
Well, not exactly, Joan. In our world, we frequently refer to people who have a great deal of money and may enjoy most of the world's pleasures as rich or wealthy people.
Then you are rich, are you not, Mother?
Why, yes, Joan, I suppose I am, though I've never given it much thought. You see, money doesn't mean a great deal when you've always had it. But it means life itself to those who are not so fortunate.
I would not like to make you less rich, Mother. Yet I would enjoy seeing something of those large stores Jerry tells me of. And I would like some dresses such as you wear. Jerry tells me your garments are very expensive. Would your riches suffer badly if I were to have some dresses like yours?
Oh, well, of course not. You dear, silly little girl. You'll have lots of dresses. And anything else you want when we get settled at home.
Jerry has a bicycle. He told me about it. May I have a bicycle?
Why, of course you may. Anything within reason.
What is a bicycle, Mother?
Oh, you'll see when the time comes.
When does the time come?
Joan, you act as if you were about 5 years old, or even younger than that. But, of course, you can't understand all the things Jerry talks about, such as bicycles and picture stars.
I will be very ignorant in your world, Mother.
Why, Joan, dear, you won't be anything of the kind.
Oh, yes, I will. You were very ignorant when you came to the island.
Oh, well, yes, I suppose we were, from your point of view.
Euclidia was no more strange to you than your world will be to me.
And we'll try to remember that, Joan, and be very patient with you in making all our explanations. Come in.
It is Jerry.
You bet it's Jerry. Jerry on the job.
Well, come in and close the door and tell us what Tex and Johnson are doing.
Oh, they're doing swell.
Well, are we nearly to the pier?
About 10 minutes now, and we'll step off on dry land.
Oh, Joan, we're almost home.
I will be very glad to see your home. Our home.
Boy, I'll sure be glad to see mine, too. And Dad'll be some surprised to see me.
He must have been very lonesome without you, Jerry.
Oh, he'll get over that fast enough. When I start asking him a million questions why he's trying to work...
I should think your father would become very tired of you, Jerry.
You what?
Why, Joan, that's a strange thing to say to Jerry.
It sure is.
I mean that if Jerry speaks as much and says as little as he does when talking to me, it would not be deeply interesting to his father.
Well, I like that.
Oh, now, Jerry, remember that Joan hasn't learned what our family relationships mean to us. And she can't possibly realize that your father would be interested in every word you said, whether it was about this trip or one of your hobbies or anything else.
I do not know many of your customs, Mother.
Oh, you'll learn very fast, Joan. Now suppose we put aside our exchange of educations for a few moments and talk about our present situation. Jerry, just what is the captain doing? Captain Bradford, I mean.
Oh, he and Johnson are with the skipper of this oil tanker. Boy, oh boy, and they're sure making that radio work overtime.
They are calling to stations on land?
Well, I'll say they are. Calling everything that will answer.
But isn't that dangerous, Jerry?
Dangerous? In what way, Joan, dear?
To the captain's plans. He wanted to preserve an air of absolute secrecy about our landing, and I agreed with him that it was advisable. Now Jerry says the news is being thrown open to all radio stations.
Hey, I didn't say that.
No, that's the impression you gave, Jerry.
Well, I didn't get a chance to finish what I started to say. Tex is sending plenty of messages, all right, and some of the land stations are getting them. But he's not telling them the right story.
You mean Tex isn't telling them we've been rescued?
Not by a long ways he isn't. He's telling them that we're on a tramp steamer, 300 miles out, and that we won't be in here for a couple of days yet.
That would be a very clever story if it were not for the fact that your land stations will be able to localize those messages and know exactly where they are coming from.
I don't believe we need to fear that, Joan. You see, there aren't a dozen stations in the country with equipment to do that, well, even possibly well. And Tex is staying away from those stations. You can be very, very sure of that.
I should think that would be advisable.
And that's just what he's doing. The only stations they're talking to and the only wavelengths they're using are a lot of hams the captain knows. They'll pass the story out just as they get it, and nobody be any wiser.
And if that story is generally circulated, we should have a good many hours of privacy before any of the Euclidean agents discover that we're in town.
That's an idea. And those hams will be excited over the story enough that they won't be worrying about where it came from.
What is a ham, Jerry?
Huh? A ham?
Yes, what do you mean by a ham?
Oh, a ham is an amateur radio operator. A fellow who has a radio station of his own and works it just because he likes to.
That is interesting. Are there many hams?
Oh, thousands of them.
Oh, yes. Jerry is a ham, aren't you?
You bet I am. You see, my dad and I have got one of the best sets in Southern California.
Come in.
Oh, come on in, Tex, and join the powwow.
I'll do that. It looks like a powwow at that, with you two all wrapped up in blankets.
Well, now, Captain Bradford, we're warm and dry and comfortable, and our Indian appearance isn't bothering us one little bit.
I say, as far as I'm concerned, you look fine.
Sure do to me. Well, what'd you find out?
I think my story got over all right.
No one suspects we're landing from this boat?
Not a soul.
How will we go ashore without being observed, Captain?
Well, the captain's taking care of that. He's really got more supplies on board than he needs. And the men who helped load the stores, they'll remember that. So there won't be any suspicion aroused when the captain says he picked up some stuff by mistake. And as it looks like large cases in which most anything might be contained, he's just going to drop a few cases back on the pier. And we'll be in them.
You don't mean we'll be in the cases?
Right, and we won't get hurt.
That should not be difficult.
Well, I wasn't thinking of the difficulty of landing in those cases. But, Tex, what about the rescue? Well, surely someone in the harbor must have heard that crash and knows about this boat running us down.
Yeah. Say, I forgot about that. What are they going to say to the captain when he comes in without any survivors from that wreck?
And after all, Tex, the packing case thing isn't much of an excuse for turning an ocean-going tanker around when he's out in the open channel.
That's all taken care of. Johnson will be the survivor. In fact, the only survivor. And as Johnson went out alone on that boat, it's going to look perfectly all right for him to be rescued alone, isn't it?
Gee, that's smart.
Why, it certainly is. Johnson is a survivor, just as he should be.
That is a very clever plan, Captain Bradford. You are indeed the most resourceful man I have ever known.
Aha, flowers for you, Tex.
And thank you, Joan, but I can't take the credit for that. Johnson thought that one up.
You sure did a good job.
Now, Jerry, look, I want you to run along up and see what you can do to help Johnson, the skipper. I'll join you in a minute and give Pat and Joe a chance to dress.
Okay, Tex. I'll see what goes on. Hey, don't be long. You know, we're mighty near the pier.
Right, Jerry.
You'd better get out of here, too, Tex. If we're that near the pier, Joan and I had better be dressing.
Yes, I know that, but I want to get Jerry out of here long enough to tell you something I didn't want him to hear.
Oh, yes, Tex?
Is there any trouble, Captain?
No, Joan, just something to smooth out.
Oh, what is it, Tex?
Well, one of the amateur radio operators I talked to, and thank heavens it was after Jerry came back here, was Jerry's dad.
Jerry's father? Oh, how wonderful, Tex. Then he knows Jerry's safe.
Yes, on the contrary, he thinks Jerry's on the high seas, still in danger.
Oh, of course, your message. But what a shame to worry him like that.
Well, I didn't dare tell him the truth. Anyone could have heard it.
But that should be a simple matter. We will be in Los Angeles soon, will we not?
In about an hour.
Then Jerry's father will know he is safe in an hour.
Well, that won't be so bad, Tex. After waiting all this time.
Oh, I know that part of it, but I just wanted to ask you if you'd phone Jerry's dad as soon as we land and sort of break it to him gently. Might be quite a shock if he runs in on his father and, well, I can't do those things.
Don't worry, Tex. I'll break it gently.
Hey, hurry up. We're there right now.
Oh, Joan, Tex, we're home, safe and sound.
The program you are about to hear is largely fiction, science fiction. We make no guarantees, however, how long it will remain fiction.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
The problem of dealing with robots is a rather peculiar thing. You know, when you deal with another human being, you can say, well, you know what I mean. And you can say, yeah, I see what you mean. When you're dealing with a robot, though, you have a different situation. If you say, you know what I mean, the robot says, no, tell me. The trouble with the robot is that it will always do exactly what you tell it, whether it makes sense or not. It has no judgment whatever. For instance, an automobile is a robot. You tell it to drive straight ahead. It drives straight ahead, right into the concrete bridge abutment. It doesn't have any sense. Another thing, if we say home is the hunter, to a man this makes sense. We think of the poem as a quotation. What would such a phrase mean to a robot?
A report from James Martin, Special Agent for the Director of the United Nations Intelligence Service, February 19, 1993. Dear Chief, I hope you had a happy St. Valentine's Day. I wish I could say the same for myself. The way it looks now, the only Valentine I'll get will be one with my epitaph on it. I hope this report reaches you eventually. You may never get it, or if you do, I may be dead by then. Maybe it was a good idea to take this section of Europe and reform the country of Transylvania again, but right now I'm inclined to doubt it. Since Transylvania became a new country, there have been queer things going on here. As for your instructions, I got an appointment to see Baron Decklitz, the Prime Minister. When the appointment came through, I was met at the front door of my hotel by Colonel Bronlick, the head of the Transylvanian Secret Police.
Ah, Mr. Martin. I was instructed to escort you to Castle Decklitz. You have an appointment with the Baron, I believe.
Yes, that's right. And you are...
I am Colonel Bronlick at your service, Mr. Martin. Come. This is our limousine here at the curb.
Well, this is very kind of you, Colonel.
Kind? Not at all. It is my duty. You are an agent of the United Nations. It is therefore my duty to escort you about, especially when you are going to call on our Prime Minister, Baron Decklitz.
I see. I suppose we'll have to wait for your chauffeur.
Oh, not at all, Mr. Martin. This is a robot-operated automobile. Observe. I merely press this button.
Yes, Colonel Bronlick.
Drive us to the Castle Decklitz.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Martin, do we not have all the modern conveniences here in Transylvania?
Oh, yes, very modern. You'll have telephones next. We have robot-operated machines in my country, too, Colonel, but I must admit that none of them are capable of talking as this one does.
You find that unusual?
Well, yes. A robot brain capable of conversation would be too large to fit in this automobile.
The brain is not in this car, Mr. Martin. This vehicle is guided by remote control. The actual brain of the robot is in an underground chamber beneath the Castle Decklitz.
Oh?
Yes. The Baron's castle may look on the outside as though it were 1,000 years old, but the equipment within is quite modern.
Well, I have to admit that it's pretty convenient to have robot-operated remote-controlled transportation.
All of the Baron's transportation works this way. His cars, his aircraft, his boats, everything.
Sounds as though Baron Decklitz runs the whole country by remote control. With a robot like that around, it's a wonder he needs any human helpers.
Mr. Martin, I will thank you not to criticize the government of Transylvania.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend. After all, I am supposed to be a diplomat.
You might try harder, Mr. Martin.
Why is the car slowing down, Colonel?
Do you see the portcullis? That heavy steel grate that closes the entrance? That, too, is controlled by the robot brain.
The Baron certainly seems to be well guarded.
Very well guarded, indeed, Mr. Martin. It is difficult for anyone to get into Castle Decklitz. It is even more difficult to get out.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
All of us as American citizens believe in our inherent liberties and freedoms, such as the freedom for educational, social, and economic opportunity. Our American system of education is the fertile soil which feeds the roots of democracy. By teaching us to think for ourselves, it has given us a deeper understanding of life around us and the ability to regulate our thoughts and opinions. But we must always be alert to the fact that with this freedom comes a responsibility. The responsibility of using our opportunities to their best advantage so that we benefit from them not only as individuals, but as a united nation. Accept that responsibility and ensure your freedom.
United Nations agent Jim Martin had managed to get an appointment to see Baron Decklitz, Prime Minister of the newly formed country of Transylvania. But now that he had gotten inside the Baron's castle, he was beginning to see what was wrong with the new country, because the castle itself was nothing more nor less than a huge robot. He had managed to get inside a robot.
That castle was a real nightmare. There were hidden television cameras everywhere, and they all relayed everything they saw to that big brain in the cellar. No matter where a man might go in that castle, he was never out of the sight of those robotic eyes. Colonel Bronlick escorted me into a big, comfortable, ultra-modern room, told me to help myself to the sherry, and left me to wait for Baron Decklitz. I went over to the bar. But there were no glasses there, no bottle of sherry. I thought that maybe the colonel was having a little joke, when suddenly a voice came from a wall speaker.
What would you like to drink, sir?
Oh, a glass of sherry.
Yes, sir. Your sherry, sir.
A panel slid open in the wall, and a glass of sherry came out. Good evening, Mr. Martin. No. Don't bother to rise. Sit down. How may I help you? Good evening, Your Excellency. May I present my identification?
No, stop. Before you put your hand in your pocket, Mr. Martin, let me warn you not to try to draw a gun. I assure you that if you tried it, you would be detected by my robot and you would be shot down where you stand long before you could aim your own gun. A robot can think and act much faster than a human being can, Mr. Martin.
Well, I didn't come here to kill you, Baron. I'm not an assassin. I'm here on United Nations business.
Yes, I am aware of that. I merely wanted to warn you. And now, please, your identification.
Yes, here it is, sir.
Thank you. Yes, that seems to be in order. Now, what business does the United Nations have with the Prime Minister of Transylvania?
Well, I'll be frank with you, Baron. There's something wrong here in Transylvania. The UN doesn't interfere with the internal government of its members unless the government is violating the basic rights of its citizens. Well, frankly, sir, Transylvania is doing just that.
You impudent young swine! Transylvania is a scientifically run country. It is run by mathematically logical principles. All decisions of the government are analyzed carefully by robotic computers.
Well, yes, but...
You think I make the policy for the country? No! All policy decisions are made by the robots, so that they can be scientifically accurate.
What happened? The lights went out.
The power has been cut off. Someone... Oh, Martin, you shot me. You cut off the power so my robot could not operate.
Baron, I will get you, Master. When the lights came on again a second or two later, the Baron was sprawled on the floor. I looked around the room, but I couldn't see anyone. I hadn't shot the Baron. I didn't even carry a gun. Whoever had killed him made a clean getaway so far. I knew I had to get out of there, too. Just before the power went off, I'd been arguing with the Baron. When the robot came to, it would shoot me down with the hidden automatic guns in the walls. I had to get out of the castle Decklitz. When I got outside, I saw that the steel gate in the side wall of the castle was open. Nearby was the car that had brought us in. The keys were in the ignition. I got inside fast. I gunned the car toward the gate. Just as I came near, the gate began to close. And just as I went through the gate, it slammed shut. I breathed easier after that. At least I'd managed to get out of the castle Decklitz. But I'd forgotten one thing. When the car started to slow up, I pushed down harder on the accelerator. But it didn't help. Hey, what's going on? The car's turning around. I can't control it. It's taking me back to the castle.
A machine, no matter how complex and intelligent it may appear, is still a machine. And the trouble with a machine is that once it's set to do a particular job, it doesn't do any good to argue with it. The only way to stop it is to shut it off or wreck it. Jim Martin was in no position to do either. It was kind of like being in an automatic elevator with the controls stuck. It was going where it was going, and there wasn't anything you could do about it.
I knew I'd have to get out of that car. It wasn't going very fast yet, so I decided to jump before it got up too much speed. I rolled across the road. It shook me up a little to jump out of a moving car, but I wasn't hurt. I got up, brushed off the dirt, and started down the road toward the city. I was about 5 miles away through the thick forest and about 6 miles by road. I decided to follow the road. I didn't want to get lost. I'd been walking about 10 minutes when I heard a noise. It was a helicopter coming from the direction of the castle. I got off the road fast and hid under a tree. It was dark, and even with the moon shining, it would have been hard for a human being to spot me from the air. But the television eyes of that helicopter were sharper than human eyes. The robot saw me.
You must come back to the castle, sir.
Not me, Buster.
The helicopter will land. You will get in.
The moon lit up the helicopter pretty well. I could see the snouts of the mounted machine guns pointing at me, but I didn't care. I figured that going back to the castle would be certain death anyway. I jumped behind the tree and then dived under a nearby bush and started crawling.
Where are you? You must come back.
I just lay flat and kept quiet. And then I heard another sound on the road. There was a car coming.
Robert, this is Colonel Bromley. I noticed the helicopter hovering, so I came immediately. Is the murderer Martin nearby?
Yes, he is somewhere in the woods to your right.
Excellent. I have a squad of men here. We will capture him.
Yes, he must go back to the castle.
All right, men. Spread out. Cover the whole area. He must be somewhere close by. Turn on the searchlight.
I knew they'd spot me soon. There was a spotlight moving near me. I decided that my only chance was to run for it. If I stayed where I was, I'd die. Here goes.
There he is! Stop him! Shoot him down!
It was the craziest gun battle I'd ever seen. Before the soldiers could shoot me, the helicopter's weapons had gunned them down. And while it was doing that, Colonel Bromley had climbed back into his armored car and shot down the helicopter with the turret gun. By the time the whole thing was over, I was well hidden in the underbrush. Pretty soon I heard the armored car drive away. But I just stayed where I was. It didn't make sense. Why had the robot's helicopter shot down the soldiers? Whose side was the robot on, anyway? I decided that since everything was quiet now, I'd better get moving. I wanted to get to the city by dawn. So I crawled out from my hiding place and headed for the road again. I didn't get far.
Put up your hands, Mr. Martin.
Colonel Bromley, I didn't see you behind that tree. I thought you'd driven off in the armored car.
Oh, no. As soon as I shot down the helicopter, the robot brain took control of the car. I jumped out.
I suppose you're going to shoot me like you shot the Baron?
Of course. The robot is convinced that you killed the Baron. And so will the people of Transylvania be convinced. And I will proclaim myself the new Prime Minister.
No wonder this country's in trouble. The Baron was a crackpot, and so are you. What? Well, looks like the robot has another helicopter to operate.
Good. The robot can kill you and save me the trouble.
Well, I don't think so. Have you figured out why the other helicopter shot down your men instead of shooting down me?
An accident. The robot could not see well in the dark. Perhaps I should not have shot it down, but it was obviously faulty.
Oh, you're not thinking straight tonight, Colonel.
You must get in the helicopter, Mr. Martin. You must go back to the castle.
Oh, well, I'm afraid I can't do that. If I move, the Colonel will shoot me.
That cannot be permitted.
Well, thanks, Corbett, old boy. That's the end of the man who shot the Baron.
That does not concern me. My orders are to bring you back alive. Get in the helicopter, please.
Anything you say, pal. Let's go. The helicopter took me back to the Castle Decklets. When it landed in the courtyard, the robot had more orders for me.
Go into the main hall. The Baron wants you.
I walked back to the room where the Baron had been shot. My hunch had been right. The Baron, stubborn old cuss, had refused to believe that he was dying. He wanted to teach me a lesson. So he'd given the robot orders to bring me back alive. Alive. So that meant that if anyone threatened my life, the robot would have to stop them. And it used its automatic machine guns to do it. It didn't matter to the robot that the Baron was dead. As long as the Baron's hand was on that control button, the robot had to obey its orders. It had hunted me down and brought me back. I walked over to the control panel and talked into the microphone. Robot, you will obey my orders now.
Yes, sir.
Very well. As soon as I leave here, you will cease operation. You will turn yourself off. You will never operate again. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I'm going to go out and take one of the Baron's cars. He won't need it. Well, that about winds up the report, Chief. I hope I'll be able to deliver it to you. I'm in my hotel room right now, but there's rioting in the streets outside. Transylvania has been turned upside down. Nobody knows who killed their Prime Minister, Baron Decklett, nor do they know who machine-gunned Colonel Bromley. But the worst trouble is with the robot. You see, the Baron had the idea he could run the whole country with the robot. It was supposed to be a scientific form of government. That robot ran almost everything in the whole area. It controlled the power plants, the telephones, transportation, even the garbage disposal. And ever since it shut itself off, nothing has worked in the whole country. As a result, Transylvania has no government and no organization. The idea of running a government by machine was a failure.
The trouble with a lot of very logical and honest people is that they think that logic is both necessary and sufficient, when it's really only necessary. The idea of a machine government was a failure. It always will be. Now, the trouble with the Baron was that he forgot one basic thing. It's sane for men to run machines, but it's insane for a machine to run men. Machines can handle truth and do a perfect job of it, but they cannot handle judgment. They have none.
Heard in our cast tonight were Larry Haynes and Don Douglas. Script was by Randall Garrett. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Bill Maher speaking.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. Certain that the unknown man who has been secretly trying to purchase the Barrow Ranch is responsible for the ghost car accident, Pa Kent and Ed Jenks, the real estate agent, set a trap to catch him. But the attempt to lure the mysterious stranger to an abandoned gold mine failed when Steve Graham, the ranch owner, came in on them unexpectedly. Graham warned them not to stay in the mine, but Kent and Jenks decided to explore the main tunnel. Tracing the source of a strange tapping noise, they found Lois Lane investigating the mine on her own hook. Suddenly, an ominous rumble echoed through the tunnel. Hurrying to the exit, they found that a cave-in had blocked it with tons of rock and debris. With their only flashlight broken, Kent, Lois, and Jenks are imprisoned in the pitch-black depths of the mine with no possible means of escape.
We'll suffocate down here. There's no air.
She's right, Mr. Kent.
Don't worry, we'll get out somehow.
How can we? Clark. Oh, Clark, there's no use trying to fool me. This mine is our tomb.
Oh, nonsense.
I can't stand this darkness.
Take it easy, Lois.
Mr. Kent, we're in a tough spot. There's no other exit from this tunnel.
You sure?
Dead certain.
Well, then we'll just have to start digging.
Well, how? With our bare hands?
Say, wait a minute. I just remembered something.
What?
That tool shed down the tunnel away where it branches off.
Yes.
There's a chance we might find some old picks or shovels there.
Swell. Can you find your way in the dark?
I reckon so, if I keep my left hand on this wall for direction.
All right, we'll go with you. Lois, keep behind Jenks. I'll follow you.
All right. Suppose we don't find any tools when we get there. What then?
Let's not worry about that until we have to. Say, Jenks, isn't that the branch of the tunnel off to the right?
Should be about here.
How can you see when it's so dark? I can't see my hand in front of my face.
Well, I didn't see it. I felt a draft coming from that direction.
Draft?
Yes.
No drafts down here.
I'm not so sure, Jenks. You go ahead with Miss Lane. I'm going to explore this other tunnel.
Klaus, you mustn't. You'll get lost.
I'll be all right.
Please don't leave us.
Don't worry, Lois. Now, you two go ahead.
Sure. He'll be safe enough, Miss. Come on.
I'll see you in a little while. Now that I'm alone, I don't have to pretend I can't see in the dark.
Let's see what Superman can do about getting out of this mine. I'm going back to the cave-in. Now, let me look this over. If I push this big boulder out of the way, we can get out of here easily enough. Well, I'd better work fast before they return. All I have to do is get my shoulder under the corner of the boulder and heave. There. It's moving. Once more. That does it. Plenty of room to get out now. Uh-oh. Here they come.
Better remember, I'm Clark Kent.
Here I am, Lois.
Oh, we couldn't find... Look, light. There's an opening.
Well, I'll be jiggered.
We're free. Oh, let's get out of here. Come on, don't stand there gaping. We're free.
I told you we'd get out.
Oh, it's good to see the sun again and breathe some fresh air. But Clark, how in the world did this boulder move? You didn't do it, did you?
Well, it looks harder than it really was.
Shucks, man. That boulder weighs a couple of tons.
Yes, I know, but it just happened to be balanced very delicately. Luckily, I was able to roll it out of the way.
Oh, I'll say it was lucky. Come on, let's get away from this place.
No, wait a second.
I want to see if I can find out what caused that cave-in.
Steve Graham warned us the timbers are about ready to give. I guess that's what happened.
I wonder.
What else could it have been?
Well, there have been other mysterious accidents around here, you know.
Clark, you don't think someone actually caused the cave-in?
It's possible.
Well, how, Clark?
Well, now, let's see. That heavy beam supported the roof of the entrance. If that could have been pulled out of position... Let's take a look at it. Well, see that?
What?
What do you say to this, Jenks?
I don't see what you're referring to.
That mark around the beam.
I'll be jiggered. Looks like the mark from a rope.
Exactly.
I wish you two would stop being so mysterious. What are you talking about?
This mark is important, Lois. Someone must have looped a rope around the end of the beam and pulled it out of place.
Well, maybe Superman could have done it, but nobody else.
Any man could have done it if he had a horse.
That's right. He just winds the other end of his rope round the pommel of his saddle and get the horse to do the pulling.
Now, let's see about that. There should be some hoof prints around.
Here they are.
No, miss. Those prints are from a horse that was standing still. They want prints from a horse that was doing some hard pulling.
Here, look at this.
Sure enough. You see that, miss? Those prints are deep. Dirt's all dug up where the horse strained against the rope.
Yes, and that same strain must have left a pretty clear mark on the pommel of his saddle. Now, if we can find a saddle pommel with fresh rope marks on it, I think we'll be a long way towards solving this case. Let's get back to the ranch.
What about my horse?
He'll find his way to the barrow, miss.
Yes, you better come along with us. Here we are. Lois? All right.
Well, now, what do you reckon pulled that there beam down, Mr. Kent?
I think we'll find out before very long. Well, here we go.
Back at the Bar-O, Clark Kent, certain he is on the trail of whoever is responsible for creating panic through a series of mysterious accidents, engages Nelson Blaine, the ranch manager, in conversation.
When did you last see Mr. Graham, Blaine?
Graham?
Yes.
Oh, about an hour ago. He went off riding.
And he hasn't come back?
No, not that I know of.
You've known Graham for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah. It's about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you ask, Mr. Kent?
Clark, what about the saddle?
Just a minute, Lois. Blaine, someone has been causing accidents around here in an attempt to drive people away from the Bar-O. Can you think of any reason why Graham would be doing that?
Well, I don't quite understand.
Mr. Kent is suggesting that Mr. Graham is responsible for the accident. Oh, I'm afraid it doesn't make sense, Clark.
No, it doesn't make sense, but there are a few points I'd like cleared up about Graham. First, he kept Jimmy from calling me, and he wasn't too gentle about it either.
Well, he explained that. He just didn't want the story of the ghost car to get out.
Yes, that's what he said. And then he was at the deserted mine this morning.
Well, what of it?
Someone caved in the entrance and imprisoned us.
Good heavens, Mr. Kent. How did you get out?
Fortunately, I managed to dislodge a boulder.
If it weren't for that, we might have been there now, suffocating.
Well, surely you don't suspect Mr. Graham.
He was there just before it happened.
But, Clark, look, what would Mr. Graham have to gain by killing us?
Well, if I could figure that out, we'd have a good case against him.
I think you're on the wrong track, Mr. Kent.
Looks to me as if somebody wants to hurt Graham. Someone with a grudge, perhaps.
You know anyone, Blaine, who might have a grudge against Graham?
No, Mr. Kent. As far as I know, he hasn't an enemy in the world. Of course, there's the gaucho, but that's been cleared up.
Who's the gaucho?
Oh, you haven't met Alfredo, have you? Mr. Graham hired him as a sort of special attraction for the guests. He thought a real South American gaucho would be a novelty on a dude ranch.
Mr. Graham ever have any trouble with him?
Yes, but it wasn't much. You know how hot-tempered those Latins are. Well, Alfredo had a run-in with Graham about a month ago. But it's all been straightened out.
A month ago? And the first accident happened about 3 weeks ago.
That's right. Where is this gaucho now?
Oh, somewhere around the ranch.
I want to meet him, Blaine. And soon.
Well, certainly, Mr. Kent, but I'd like to caution you. Alfredo's a fine fellow, but he's pretty touchy sometimes.
Oh?
If I were you, I'd be very careful when you question him.
Why?
Well, he might lose his temper.
I think I can take care of myself.
Well, no doubt, but Alfredo's one of the best shots I've ever seen. Well, you see what I mean.
Mr. Blaine's right, Clark. You've got to be careful.
Don't you worry, Lois. I will be.
Hey, that looks like Alfredo now, riding towards us.
Oh, good. Introduce us.
Okay. But remember what I told you. Alfredo!
Si, senor.
Hey, come over here, will you?
Si, un momento.
Alfredo, I'd like you to meet two of our new guests. Miss Lane, Mr. Kent. This is Alfredo Marqueda, our South American gaucho.
How do you do?
Senor.
How do you do?
Senorita, I am charmed to meet one so lovely as you.
Oh, thank you. Are all the gauchos so gallant?
Even a rough gaucho becomes, as you say, gallant when he has the honor to meet the lovely senorita.
Really, this is too much. I'm not used to such flattery.
Well, if you see enough of Alfredo, you'll get used to it.
That's quite a horse you have, Alfredo. Bring him with you from South America?
Si, senor. Blanco was raised in the Pampas. That is where the best horses in the world come from.
Looks as if you've been doing some hard riding.
When Alfredo is in the saddle, he rides hard. But Blanco does not mind.
He's a beauty. Will it be all right if I pet him? He won't mind, will he?
Blanco is a true son of South America, senorita. With the ladies, he is always gentle.
Oh, what a beautiful saddle.
Tell me, Alfredo, when you were riding, did you pass the old mine?
The mine, senor?
Yes.
Todd, just look at this saddle. It's simply magnificent.
Yes, very nice.
You haven't looked at it.
Yes, I did.
Come over here. It's worth seeing.
In a minute, Lois. I just want to have a few words with Alfredo.
You can talk to him later.
When the lady insists, a man can only give in, no?
Yeah, it looks that way. Excuse me, will you? I'll be back in a minute.
Go right ahead, senor.
All right, Lois. Now, what's so remarkable about this saddle?
Pretend to admire it.
What?
Just look at the workmanship. Look at this, too.
Look at what? Yes, it is remarkable.
Look at the pommel. Those marks.
Lois, you're right. Those are rope marks.
Same sort of marks we saw on the beam at the mine.
And they were made recently, too. Lois, this may be the break we've been waiting for.
Well, it looks as though Lois has found the first important clue to the mystery of the Bar O. Fresh rope marks on the pommel of Alfredo's saddle. Is the hot-tempered gaucho responsible for the accidents that have been plaguing the Dude Ranch? And how will he react when Kent accuses him? Don't miss the next revealing episode. Tune in and follow the story with the Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. But before we join Superman, listen.
And now to our story. After unsuccessfully setting a trap for the unknown man who is trying so desperately to get control of the Bar O Dude Ranch, Clark Kent and Lois Lane were caught inside an abandoned mine by a sudden cave-in. Fortunately, Kent, as Superman, was able to roll aside a boulder and clear the way to safety. Outside, Kent discovered that whoever was responsible for the cave-in had used a horse to pull the beam down. When Clark and Lois returned to the ranch house, Blaine, manager of the Bar O, introduced them to Alfredo, a gaucho employed on the ranch, a hot-headed Latin who has had several arguments with Steve Graham, owner of the Bar O. While Kent conversed with Blaine and the gaucho, Lois carefully examined the fancy saddle on Alfredo's horse. And suddenly, her eyes lit up. Calling Kent over, she pointed to the pommel.
Pretend to admire it, Clark. Just look at the workmanship. Look at the pommel.
Say, you're right. Rope marks.
Like those on the beam at the mine.
They were made recently, too. Lois, this may be the break we've been waiting for.
Finished admiring Alfredo's saddle yet, Kent?
Well, yes. But would you and Alfredo mind stepping over this way for a moment?
Sure thing. Come on, Alfredo. Please,
So, Senor Kent, You are interested very much in my beautiful saddle.
Yes, Alfredo, I am interested. Very interested.
A saddle like that, senor, it takes very long time to make.
It isn't the workmanship of the saddle that interests me, Alfredo, but this.
Oh, the way the silver is inlaid into the leather.
No, I mean these marks on the pommel.
See, he's bad fortune. Even the very best leather, sometimes he gets scratched.
Not without good cause, Alfredo. You tied one end of a rope firmly around the pommel of your saddle right here.
So?
The other end you fastened to a large timber beam.
Beam, senor?
Then you spurred your horse into a gallop and pulled the beam crashing to the ground.
And started the cadence that sealed us in the abandoned mine.
Now, wait a minute, Miss Lane.
What is this? Rope, beams, mine. I do not understand.
Alfredo, someone just attempted to kill us by imprisoning us in the old mine. That someone...
No, this cannot be. You are accusing me, Alfredo.
No, I'm not accusing you, Alfredo. But I do think
You think, senor, that I have tried this thing? That I tried to kill? Senor, that is very big insult.
Take it easy, Alfredo.
I am a gaucho, senor. We gauchos are men of honor. I do not like for anyone to speak to me like this. Oh. I do not like it, Senor Kent.
I was merely speculating, Alfredo. Maybe you didn't use your rope and horse to pull that beam out. But if you didn't, how do you explain these marks on your saddle?
I think you come to Bar Road to make trouble, senor.
You haven't answered my question.
I do not have to explain anything to you, Senor Kent.
Easy, Alfredo, easy. I'm sure Mr. Kent doesn't mean to accuse you of any wrong. He just wants some information.
He does not have to make so many questions. Questions, like he's policeman or something. Like if I am thief. I do not know anything about mine and pulling over timber.
What are you so afraid of? Why don't you tell us what you tied the other end of the rope to?
Yes, Alfredo. What's the answer?
Come on, Alfredo. Mr. Kent is trying to help all of us.
Very well. I am gaucho, correct? See. All right. So I find big steer. Steer is wedged in between two big trees. So, quick. I tie rope around his horns, other end to saddle, pull him out with horse.
Well, that seems logical, Kent. Things like that are always happening around the ranch.
Possibly. Still, I'd like to see some proof. Tell me, what time did you rescue this
I am
steer?
not going to stay here, waste time, and answer very silly questions. Come, Blanco. We go for a ride.
Come back, Alfredo.
I'd stay and answer the questions if I were you, Alfredo. An innocent man doesn't run away.
Senor Kent, you have insulted me. I try very hard not to get angry, okay. I do nothing now. But I warn you, Senor Kent, next time you will be sorry if you talk this way to me. Adios, senor. Adios, senor.
Clark, I don't like that fellow. I don't believe his story.
Well, you can't tell, Lois. He may be telling the truth. That yarn about the steer does sound plausible.
Clark, you heard how he threatened you.
Oh, Alfredo's hot-tempered, Miss Lane. I'm sure he didn't mean any harm.
Maybe not. But our gaucho friend who doesn't like to answer questions can certainly stand watching.
Well, I suppose in a case like this, you can't overlook anyone.
Or anything.
Mr. Blaine, you come over here a minute.
Be right over, Shorty. Excuse me a moment, won't you? I've got to get back on the job. I'll see you folks later.
Okay.
Lois, we're not getting anywhere on this case.
If only we had some real clues.
No, we have clues, Lois. We're still going around in circles. So far, the clues don't lead anywhere.
Oh, now, don't tell me the great reporter is getting discouraged.
No. I'm more determined than ever to solve this mystery.
I'm with you. Suppose we try to get our bearings.
What's your idea?
Ideas are my idea.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, let's sit down and talk it all over. Maybe we can get a bright idea or two.
Oh, swell. Suppose we sit over there on the porch, huh?
Mm-hmm. Say, by the way, where's Jimmy?
I don't know. Around the corral, probably.
Maybe Blaine knows. Mr. Blaine?
Yeah? What is it?
Have you seen Jimmy?
No, but I'll send one of my men to find out where he is.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Here. Sit down on one of these porch chairs.
Thanks. Well, Clark, where do we go from here?
Well, first, let's see what we know so far about the mystery of the Bar O.
A peaceful dude ranch is suddenly plagued by a series of strange accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Strangest of all, those caused by a ghost car.
Or what appears to be a ghost car.
Oh, it sure looked real to me when it forced us off the road.
I know.
Anyway, the owner of the ranch gets persistent offers from a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
But the agent doesn't know who the would-be buyer of the borrow is. So far, not so good.
Yeah. Call our mystery man Mr. Z.
Okay. So we deduce that this person, Mr. Z, has some powerful reason for wanting to get hold of the borrow.
Very good, Dr. Watson. Proceed.
Elementary, my dear Mr. Kent. So we figure that it's the mysterious Mr. Z who has caused all the accidents around here.
Go on.
Which brings us to the big question. Why? Why is Mr. Z so anxious to buy the ranch from Graham? And why did he try to bury us in that mine?
All right, hold on, Lois. You got something there. The old mine. Didn't I think of this before? Here. Look.
Oh, I don't see what a few pieces of gray rock have to do with it.
I picked them up in the abandoned mine.
Well?
Suppose this rock contains some valuable substance. That would explain why this man behind the accidents goes to such lengths to try and get the ranch.
Oh, Clark, how can a few pieces of rock give you ideas like that? Really, you shouldn't be a reporter. You ought to write fiction.
Well, go ahead and joke. I'm going to send the sample off on the first train to Metropolis. I'll have a mineralogist in the city examine it and wire me exactly what it is.
Oh, don't be foolish, Clark. You're just wasting valuable time.
Now, look, Lois, we've got to find a motive for Mr. Z. If we can discover what he's after, well, we'll certainly be in a better position to know who he is.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Blaine. Did you find out about Jimmy?
Oh, no need to worry, Kent. One of my men just saw him out on the range riding with Alfredo.
No need to worry. When he's riding with that man?
Oh, the boy will be all right. Alfredo is a nice chap.
Oh, I don't trust him, Mr. Blaine. Clark, you better ride after them and bring Jimmy back.
Oh, we can't keep Jimmy tied to an apron string, Lois. I'm not going chasing after him like he was an infant. Nothing to worry about.
But, Clark,
I think your nerves are still on edge from the mine accident. Suppose you go upstairs and get a little rest.
I'd rather wait here until Jimmy returns.
A nap will do you good, Lois.
Oh, very well, if you insist. But I can't help worrying about the boy.
Well, if you're that worried, Miss Lane, I'll have Shorty go out on the range and tell the boy to come on back.
Yes, will you please do that?
Thanks, Lane. Go ahead, Lois. Lie down for an hour.
All right. I'll see you all later.
I'll be back from town in an hour.
Going into town, Mr. Kent?
Yes, I have a little errand to do in the village. I'll drive in, I guess. Say, you won't forget to send your man after Jimmy, will you?
I'll take care of it right now. Oh, Shorty.
Yeah?
Get out on the range and see if you can find Jimmy and the gaucho. Tell him to come back right away.
Okay.
Thanks, Lane.
See you around.
Gosh, Alfredo, let me see you do that with the whip again.
You like it, eh, Jimmy? Okay, this time I do even better. You see a little twig on tree over there?
Wow, that's over 15 feet away.
For me, it's very easy. I just take the whip and...
Why, you snapped the twig clear off. Boy, I sure wouldn't like to get you sore at me.
You're right. It's not very wise to get Alfredo angry.
Say, this has been a lot of fun, Alfredo, but I better start back for the ranch now. It'll be getting dark soon.
Oh, no, Jimmy. You'll have plenty time to ride. Yet plenty time.
Oh, I'm awful hungry.
Oh, I fixed that quick. I make you a good supper.
Oh, well, where will you get food?
Oh, I think of everything, Jimmy. See, there near here.
Gosh, it's a cabin. I didn't know about that.
Oh, it's very old cabin. No one comes there anymore except me. I keep little food there for when I ride out here.
I'd like to see your cabin, Alfredo, but honest, I gotta get back.
You have much better time here, Jimmy. Your friends are busy. They will not miss you.
Well, I don't know.
Come, Jimmy. We go to the cabin. Have fine meal.
No, I better get back. Mr. Kent and Miss Lane will be worried about me.
Ah, Jimmy. Nobody worry when they know you are with Alfredo. Besides, you are hungry, no?
Yes, but Alfredo,
Then it is settled. We stop at cabin, and I fix you fine supper.
Okay, Alfredo. You win, I guess.
That is good. Very good. Let's go. Up.
Is Alfredo leading Jimmy into a trap? He seems mighty anxious to keep him from returning to the ranch. What is behind the gaucho's sudden desire to have Jimmy visit the cabin? Can it be that Alfredo is the man behind the accidents at the Barrow, the man responsible for the cave-in at the mine, and for the ghost car? Don't miss the next exciting episode. Tune in and follow the story with Superman.
don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You're in a wild and dangerous country, riding to stake your claim, while the man who follows you, without conscience or fear, is waiting for the moment when he will stop you with a bullet in the heart.
Listen now, as transcribed, Escape brings you William J. Radcliffe's exciting story, The Notebook.
Started about a week ago, after we broke camp and headed for the little town of Deadwood.
You see way over there, Robbie?
Where?
Over there, way over there. Them's old volcanoes. Injuns around here say their folks and spirits live there. Well, about 20 miles or so that way is the trading post.
Hey, maybe we can file our claim there.
No, have to make Deadwood for that. Hey, hold it up, Robbie.
What's wrong? Oh. What do we do?
I don't know. Stand steady, I guess. When I say it, head for them rocks and move fast.
And we better wait.
Or scatter.
You all right, Mac?
Yeah. Tore my doggone pants.
The same guy, ain't it?
Yeah, same guy. Whiskers and all.
I'd sure like to give him a shave.
From ear to ear. Let's see about getting our rifles. Jenny! Whoa, girl! Here! Come here, girl! Whoa, Jenny! Come back here, you fool! Come back here!
Mac, get down! Get down, he'll see you!
Ornery critter, ain't you? You're almost as bad as some people I've known.
If we get across that ravine, we can back trail out of here.
Yeah. All right, get going.
No, wait a minute, I got an idea. Throw your hat the other way and draw his fire.
Good idea. Come on, let's go.
Watch them rocks.
I'm watching. I want to keep moving. Yeah.
This way over here.
I'm coming.
Head into them woods. I see the burrow.
Yeah. Whoa! Whoa up there, you tarnation fool! Whoa!
Easy, Jenny, now. Easy, girl. Easy, girl. I got the rifle, Mac.
Good. Now, let's get that bushwhacking polecat.
Wait. Now, look.
Yeah. He's lighting out.
Yeah. He's tried it twice now. Reckon he'll try again?
Yeah, he wants that gold pretty bad.
Well, so do I.
Would you kill for it, Robbie?
It's an awful lot of gold, Mac.
Would you kill for it?
I don't know. Maybe. I can't say. We made a dry camp that night and cooked early so we could douse the fire before dark. We took turns watching and sleeping, but nothing happened. Next afternoon late, we got to Deadwood, a dirty town of mud shacks and old cabins. Half-naked Indian kids kicked the dry dust round us begging for smokes. The half-breeds and whites just stared at us. Some town, huh?
Yeah. It's a wild one, all right.
Well, it beats me how they make a living.
Oh, sheep mostly.
Yeah?
Trade with the Indians. Robbie, you see that there tree?
Yeah?
You know, I see the fella get hanged there once.
Oh?
Yep. Hauled him up like a sack of wheat. Choked him dead. Ugh, terrible. I'll never forget it.
What'd he do? Kill somebody?
No, a bunch of guys just got drunk and wanted a hanging. He just happened to be there. Well, let's go across to that saloon, Robbie. I got me a thirst.
Well, I guess we can afford one.
Only one?
Bottle, I mean.
Oh, yes, sirree, Robbie. That'll do it.
What'll it be, gents?
A bottle of whiskey.
I'll stick to beer.
Okay.
Oh, Robbie, I still think you ought to... Oh, Robbie.
What?
That third guy.
Huh?
Into the bar. It's him.
Sure is. Fella.
Huh?
I've been looking for you.
What? What? Friend.
Oh, two of you, huh? Okay, come on. All right, now get up. Pick him up. And both of you get out of here.
Put the gun away. We'll see who gets out of here.
Do like I tell you. Haul yourself and that other bum out of here.
You all right, Robbie?
Yeah, but who's he?
I don't know, but he sure crocked you one.
You the law?
I own the joint. Any fighting to be done, and I'll do it.
Yeah, that guy with the whisker, he bushwhacked us.
Yeah, twice.
You're lying. He works for me.
Oh, come on, Robbie.
Hey, just a minute.
Yeah?
If Jonesy did pot shot you, and I ain't saying he did or didn't, how come?
How come?
Yeah, why?
Oh, figuring to jump our claim, I reckon.
Claim?
Mac, come on.
All right, a couple of you guys hold Jonesy into the back.
There's another bar on down the way.
There always is.
Hey, Robbie, you heard any?
Jaw's sore.
So his whiskers, I reckon. You socked him pretty good.
What's so funny?
You know, Robbie, I didn't pay for them drinks.
What are you laughing at? We didn't get to drink them.
Hey, Robbie. You still mad at me?
Nope.
I shouldn't have talked about our gold claim back in Deadwood.
Mac, for 2 days now, you've been doing nothing but talk about it. Now, forget it.
It'd been all right if we'd found an office there to stake our claim.
How far we come?
Oh, about 30 miles, I reckon. We'll get back to the Gallo by nightfall, make Silvertown tomorrow, maybe. Hold up a minute, Robbie.
Well, you're tired?
Oh, no. Listen.
Well?
No. Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I'm just listening. Did you hear that owl?
Yeah.
Remember hearing it a ways back?
Well, yeah, I guess. What's wrong with the owl hooting?
Well, generally, wild animals only squawk when something bothers them. I don't know. It's kind of peculiar. Let's keep moving.
All right. Come on, Jimmy.
Big for crows. Sure are. Ever eat a crow stew?
Crow stew?
Oh, it's pretty good. Especially when you're gosh darn hungry. Hey, Robbie, see them tracks?
Yeah. Been noticing them. Yeah, they look like dog tracks.
Sort of. It's a wolf pack. Track's about a day old. Oh, lots of them around here. Oh, they're mean devils. Uh-oh. Let's get back into them rocks.
What for?
Come on. Steady down, Robbie.
Sure.
Okay. Whoa. Easy. Hold that critter, Robbie.
Were you in trouble again?
And crows, we flushed back there and went back to eating again.
So?
So? Sit tight and listen.
Mac, you flew away.
Yeah, sure did. Robbie, we're being followed.
I hope it's Whiskers.
Get the rifles.
Yeah, I will. Here.
Yeah. Look. You see him?
No.
There.
Where?
That clump of pines. Oh.
It's Whiskers, all right. Hey, there's 2 of them.
Yep. Him and the big guy that runs the saloon. You know, the guy that clobbered you.
Yeah, that's him, all right. Remember, Mac, you asked me if I could kill for gold?
Huh?
Maybe I can give you an answer now.
We will return to Escape in just a moment. But first, wood for your home, water in the faucet, the newspaper on the front porch every day. Behind all of these taken-for-granted items of everyday life are America's forests. Whenever a forest burns, those things are being destroyed, and we ourselves are destroying them, because 9/10 of all forest fires are man-made. Let's stop this needless destruction and be careful of fire in forest areas. And now, back to Escape.
come 30 miles from Deadwood. I kept thinking, if we'd been able to stake our claim there, we wouldn't be waiting behind rocks, waiting for the two guys who made shadows in the clump of pines as they came riding through on their horses.
You're a pretty good shot, ain't you, Robbie?
I can handle it.
I'll just be nice and easy.
Yeah.
We'll cover them first and see what they're up to.
Your gold, Mac. That's what they want.
I reckon. It's funny about gold, Robbie. A body near kills himself of grubbing and sweating for it. And then starts killing others just to keep it.
Yeah. But it's a pile of gold, Mac.
I'll cover Whiskers. You take the big guy.
Yeah. I'm going to work that boy over real good.
Yeah, but just wait till they get around that boulder. Stand right still, you guys.
What's the idea?
What are you following us for?
Open country, innit?
Now get off them horses, the both of you. Robbie, go get their guns.
Right.
Look out, Robbie! Oh, Mac!
Mac! Mac, easy now. Easy, Mac. Where'd he get you?
Chest hurts.
Oh, Mac.
Gotta think what we do.
Take it easy, Mac. Take it easy here. Let's see what looks like.
Pretty bad.
I'll see now. Oh, man, I gotta stop the blood.
Oh, Jenny, come back! Jenny, come back here! You all right, Robbie?
Yeah.
Our burro get away?
Yeah.
Here, give me my rifle, Robbie.
Now, Mac, just lay still. Easy. Mac, I'm going over behind those rocks and talk back to that guy. Now, don't you move.
Don't take chance. Mac! What are you doing? Mac! Get down! Mac, you crazy fool! Get down! Mac! Did I get him, Robbie?
Yeah, you got Whiskers. But easy now. Easy, Mac. You're bleeding hard.
Hurts bad, too.
Well, wait a minute. Here's some water for you.
No.
Easy, Mac. Come on now. Drink it. That's it.
Fella ought to have real drink. Time like this.
The big guy's tailing out, Mac.
Robbie.
Yeah, I'm here, Mac.
You know where we are?
Sure. I know.
You get home all right?
Yeah. We'll get home.
It's wild here. Stay with the river. Only water around.
Oh, now, Mac. You're going to be all right, Mac. You hear? Mac. Mac. I buried Mac on the bluff there. and piled heavy stones on his grave. I stood there for a long time after I'd said the prayer. After a while, I left him and hunted for the burro. Late afternoon, when I found her back up the trail, found what was left of her after the wolf pack pulled her down. I went back to the river and made camp for the night. And that's where he found me.
Stand right still, mister.
Huh? What?
Just don't move.
You?
Yeah, it's me. Get over there. Where's your rifle?
Yeah, on the blanket.
I'm hungry. Where's your grub?
Oh, it's in the canvas there.
Never mind. I'll help myself.
You better go easy. It's all there is.
Shut up.
Oh, well, that food's got to last till we get back.
You ain't getting back. Where's the gold?
There is no gold.
Don't give me that. I said, where is it? I ain't fooling. Get up! Now, where is it?
Ain't gold. Ain't no gold.
When I get through with you, you'll be digging it for me. I said, where is it? I got lots of time, fella. You just lay down and think about it. Where you got the coffee? Well?
I told you. There's no gold.
That ain't what I asked you. Where's the coffee?
Oh, coffee? Yeah, in the sack.
No. You just make it easy on yourself, fella. You tell me where your strike is. That's all there is to it. Might even cut you in. Well? Answer me. Look, tell me where it is, and I'll let you in for half of it, huh? Tell me! Are you going to tell me? What's bothering them?
Of the horse made my blood run cold. The big guy went nuts, I guess. All of a sudden, he started yelling crazy things and running. I heard him pound along the river bed and splash into the water, and then he was gone. I piled sagebrush and wood on fire and stood in its light and tried not to hear the agonized sounds of the horses. The wolves got him. They left sometime in the night, but the morning was long coming. Then I saw what was left of the horse and took sick to my stomach. I got what gear there was and rolled it in a pack. I had 3 shells left for the rifle. followed the river down through the gorge. I guess I'd gone, about a mile. Mary was.
Drop your rifle! Drop it! Now come here. Up here, you fool! Hurry up!
Well?
That's close enough.
You hurt, huh?
Throw me your canteen. Water. I want water, you fool. This is empty.
I know it.
I told you I want water.
I've been following this stream. There's no use carrying water. You want some? I'll get it for you.
No. Don't move.
Are you hurt?
My leg. It's broke.
You want me to look at it?
See this rifle?
I see it.
You try something, you're dead.
Let's see the leg.
No. Get away from me. You hear me?
Now listen to me. You want me to help you, then put down that rifle.
How stupid you think I am?
Plenty stupid.
Shut up. Now do like I tell you. Cut them 2 saplings off there. Make an engine litter out of that blanket.
Oh, fella, I can't drag you that far.
I'm going to kill you.
Oh? Then what? Miles nowhere. Alone, can't walk. That wolf pack's still around. I reckon there's been enough killing. What's your name?
Morris. Jack Morris.
Let me see your leg.
Yeah. Hey, I'll look at it.
Yeah, it's a bad one. Real bad.
Hold me up.
He passed out then, and I tried to set his leg. It was all swelled up and bloody. I did the best I could and then hauled him up the hill to his cave. That was 4 days ago. I kept the fire going, made him easy as I could, and I put these words down in my notebook. Last night, the wolf pack found us. I built up the fire at the front of the cave, and they stayed back, howling. They're still there this morning, 7 of them. But I can't kill any more. Got no shells left. Morris died a few minutes ago. There's no more wood. The fire's low. It'll be gone soon.
Transcribed under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Notebook by William J. Radcliffe, starring John Daner as Robbie, Joseph Kearns as Mac, and William Conrad as Jack Morris. The special music for Escape is composed and directed by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are alone in a giant forest, seeking a way of escape, while around you, gaining with your every step, the relentless enemy, which is fire, is closing in from every side, until there will be only one way out, and that way is death.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Anthony Ellis's exciting story, The Red Forest. right, and most of these same CBS radio stations listen for another dramatic hit from Screenland on the Lux Summer Theater. Every Monday night, CBS Radio invites you to enjoy your favorite Hollywood stars in arresting comedies, dramas, and mysteries. Full-hour productions throughout the warm weather months on the Lux Summer Theater. This is Roy Rowan speaking.
Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars now present Space Patrol. High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are in the Jupiter City atmosphere plant searching for a powerful bomb hidden by the criminal Boger.
Commander, listen. Hear that? The timing device. We're close to it. Here, this way. There it is. Oh, I have to figure out how to deactivate this thing. 10 seconds, Commander. Getting ready to go off. If this isn't the right control, Jupiter City will be blown off the planet.
We'll return in just a moment with a thrilling story, The City of Hidden Doom.
Space Patrollers, this is Commander Corey. Let me ask you something. When Mom and Dad had the breakfast coffee this morning, did you have a good hot drink? You know, you need a real warm-up for all-day power. That's why you should always start the day the Space Patrol way with a big cup of Nestle's Instant Cocoa. It's just loaded with good hot nourishment for real energy. And Nestle's makes the greatest hot cocoa you've ever tasted. It's rich, it's smooth, it's delicious. It's really out of this universe. Now, wait till you see what fun it is to fix. Nestle's Ever-Ready is so easy it just about makes itself. Now, listen, here's all you do. Just put 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of Nestle's in your cup and add hot water. That's all. Now, you're all ready to drink it and get your supply of morning pep. Nestle's Ever-Ready is the complete cocoa, too. You add nothing but water because whole milk and sugar are already in it. You ought to see the lineup around here when they sound the Nestle's. Everybody goes for that delicious Nestle's chocolate flavor. That goes for me, too. Why don't you get the Nestle's Space Patrol habit and ask Mom to stock your galley with Nestle's and drink it regularly, the way we do. And you'll have power to spare. That's Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa in the bright red can.
And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The City of Hidden Doom. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy are aboard the Terra 5, bound for the planet Jupiter, where the governors of the 5 outer planets are holding a conference. Whatever problems these great leaders have to discuss, Buzz knows they are no more important than the one that faces him as Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. The entire United Planets are at the mercy of a criminal who controls a device that makes matter invisible. Walls and locked doors are no barriers, and delicate warning systems are no restraint to Rolf Boger in his pursuit of crime. Thinking of this powerful enemy, Happy has been unusually silent on this flight to Jupiter.
Worried about Boger, Happy? You guessed it. For all we know, he might be right on our tail right now in that invisible spaceship of his, and we'd never know it.
He might be,
He can go anywhere he wants to and steal whatever he wants. And nobody will know about it until they discover what's missing. Being invisible gives Boger every advantage.
No, not quite. When a crime's committed with no clues at all, we'll know that Boger did it.
A lot of good that does. But he can get away with it again and again.
There's another thing to remember. Bolger can steal money while he's invisible, but he can't spend it that way.
Yeah. If we could only nab him when he's on a spending spree.
That'll depend on Bolger's temperament. If he's like most crooks, there'll come a time when he'll have to show off, make a big public splurge.
But that might not be for weeks or months. You know, Commander, I've been thinking, what's to keep Bolger from coming to the governor's conference? Being invisible, he could be right in a room listening to secret information.
That's one reason we're going to be there, huh?
But if he's invisible, what can we do?
They've forgotten those belts and electronic spectacles we took from Bolger's men.
Hey, that's right. If Bolger turns on that high frequency field to make himself invisible, we'll be invisible, too. And we can see Bolger and capture him.
We couldn't fool Bolger that easily. Besides, I wouldn't have think I've come to Jupiter City to guard the governor. To give us freedom of movement for a plan I put into operation.
We're trying to trap Bolger?
Yeah. He's got big ideas. We need more equipment. Equipment and materials that are hard to get.
For his frequency field transmitters and his control box.
Right. Our security lab technicians have examined the few pieces of Bolger's paraphernalia that we've captured. They don't know how it works, but they know the materials that go into it. Now, here's the general idea. In the city of Thuban, on the planet Saturn, Ralph Bolger set up temporary headquarters almost next door to the local Space Patrol unit. Working at his desk, Bolger seems to be completely unaware that a visitor is materializing out of nothingness, only a few feet away. As the visitor turns the control on his belt, Bolger flicks a switch on a panel at his right.
Yes, Rubeck, what is it?
Well, Commander Corey is in Jupiter City. Corey's at the governor's conference. Major Robertson, the security chief, will act as executive officer at Terra headquarters.
Did you find out anything else?
No. I didn't wander around because I didn't want to step outside the beam and suddenly find myself visible with the Space Patrol guards all around me.
So Corey's not in the government, huh? Mm-hmm. We are blasting off right away for Jupiter City.
But Corey's there. Didn't you just say
I said to listen. Now, I have managed to pick up some very interesting information. Information about the shipment of some very hard-to-get electronics equipment.
Yes? What kind?
Elements we can use in our transmitters.
Where is it?
In the warehouse, 23 at Jupiter City Spaceport. Now, here's the plan I worked out. When we get to Jupiter City, we'll get a large surface truck, a van. There will be a field transmitter in the truck to make it invisible.
That's great. Park it close to the warehouse, fill it up with invisible equipment, take it to our spaceship and blast off.
During the few short hours of night on Jupiter, the small warehouse, number 23, is deserted. Buzz and Happy wait in a tiny locked office, each of them wearing a belt that, when energized by an ultra-vibration field, will make them invisible. On their foreheads, ready to be snapped into place over their eyes, are the special electronic spectacles that let a totally invisible person see ordinary matter as well as other invisible objects. Happy peers through a small hole in the office partition, watching a stack of crates.
What is it, sir? It's starting to fade out. Oh, so are you, Commander?
We're becoming invisible. It means our belts are picking up radiation from Bolger's transmitter.
It must be outside the warehouse.
Put the spectacles in the casing. I'll catch back to the equipment.
Yes, sir. Somebody just stepped through the wall of the warehouse, sir.
Is it around? Is it Bolger?
No, sir.
We're ready to send our spectacles office.
He's walking toward the equipment now.
I'm sure it's a warehouse. So let us go back. Let us know on site. I've located what we're after. Van is heading to Big Island. There's quite a lot of stuff here. Make sure there is no watchman around. Now, there's nobody here. Anyway, there's a small office just to the right of the crate. Looks like it's locked up. Just go inside and make sure.
I divided the electron field so it belongs to the partition.
All right.
Bolger sees us. He's standing here and through like a short 16.
Nobody in the office, Bolger.
All right. Get busy and load the van.
Some of those boxes are pretty big. I may need some help.
I am not leaving the truck unless I have to. Get busy.
All right.
Bolger's probably in the cab of the truck. We could grab him while his pal Rubeck is in the warehouse.
I can't feel his name is not.
if you could suddenly alter it to cut it off. It might catch Rubeck back in and half out of the summer. Never thought of that. Without tipping Boulder off, we got to find out where the transfer is. Up into Rubeck with a plate, see? Right through the warehouse wall.
All right, there's the first one, Boulder. Hurry up. I want this truck loaded before the day crew shows up.
You picked the easy job, all right. Sitting up there in the cab.
Somebody's got to keep watch. Now, hurry up.
Rubeck makes trip after trip from warehouse to truck while Bocher watches from the cab. But when the van is full, Buzz and Happy climb aboard. Invisible men in an invisible truck.
Everything's all right, Boulder. Let's get going. All right. Well, it looks like it is a profitable night's work, Rubeck. Yes, sir. A profitable night's work.
In the dark interior of the van, Buzz and Happy are aware only of motion. It swerves from side to side as the big truck rumbles to an unknown destination. In several moments, it comes to a stop.
I wonder where we are. I have to stay in the truck and stay away from the van. I can hardly wait to see the look on Boulder's face. Let's work our way up to the door here. Don't let them know it's coming up the truck. Okay, sir. Even if the truck is still invisible, I don't think so. Jump over. Open the door. Don't move anything.
Let the truck go for a minute, Rubeck.
Don't you want it unloaded?
It will be all right here in the garage. Come on.
All right.
Garage, you say? Yeah, in the garage. Well, we'll leave that waiting for a while. I'll give us a chance to get out of the van and be ready for it. Let's go. Easy to open the door. It's all clear, sir. Okay, jump on. We've got a place to hide where we can watch the truck. Now, how about... Commander!
Don't reach for your weapon.
Bocher.
Keep your blaster on them, Rubeck. The trick backfired for you. Now you're in my trap.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Hey, here comes Tony Sides. I'll beat. He's growing a mustache.
Who? Me, Captain Truesdale? What do you mean?
Why, you sure have.
Ah, gee whiz. That's no mustache. That's a Nestle's Cocoa. You see, I had a cup just a few minutes ago. Well, I guess I was in such a hurry to drink it, I got some on my upper lip. I'll lick it off. Gee, that's good.
See, that's what everybody says, Tony. Nestle's Eveready makes the best cocoa in the universe. It's so rich, so chocolatey, and so smooth.
Since we got the Space Patrol habit at our house, all my brothers and sisters drink Nestle's Cocoa for breakfast. We love the way it tastes. And boy, we sure love the pep it gives us. Starting the day with a hot drink is real smart. Especially when that drink is Nestle's Cocoa.
You said it. And Nestle's Eveready is so easy to fix it practically makes itself. You just put 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls in your cup and add hot water, and that's all there is to it. Milk and sugar are already in Nestle's, so you don't have to add a thing.
Say, as long as Nestle's Cocoa is so good and so easy to fix, well, I mean...
You mean we ought to fix us some real fast and maybe both get mustaches?
You bet.
Gang, how about you? If you haven't tried the Space Patrol way to start the day, don't wait anymore. Chow up for delicious Nestle's Cocoa. Ask your mom to get Nestle's in the bright red can. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, the City of Hidden Doom. By means of an electromagnetic field that renders matter invisible, Ralph Bocher and his accomplice Rubeck were able to steal electromagnetic equipment from a warehouse at the Jupiter City spaceport. Hoping to capture the criminals, Buzz and Happy hid in the trunk. When the vehicle halted, the space patrollers thought Bojo and Rubeck had temporarily left the scene. Upon leaping from the truck, however, Buzz and Happy were surprised by the criminals, who rushed them with blast guns.
That's it, Corey. Hold your hands high. You too, Cadet. Take their weapons, Rubeck.
All right. Well, how about those belts they're wearing?
Remove them. They won't be needing them anymore.
What are you going to do when the Space Patrol traces this van here to the garage, Bozo?
The van cannot be traced, Corey. It was driven here with the invisibility field on.
When did you find out we were in the truck?
When I was loading it back at the warehouse, I saw you duck behind a box, Cadet, so I pretended to come back and check the warehouse once more.
Get into that room, Commander. Go on.
You heard of me. Both of you, get moving.
I will lock you in here while I tend to a small errand. And you'll find out for yourself that it is impossible to escape. You can shout and pound all you want. No one will hear you.
In case someone calls while you're out, what do we tell them?
Well, you can just tell them that we are helping ourselves to the vault at the Jupiter City Bank. But don't worry, no one will be here asking for us.
The Jupiter City Bank? Well, that's one of the best guarded banks in the United Planets.
Yes, I know. But we can walk right through Endurium walls. Calmly help ourselves and walk out.
We won't even trip on a wall.
You'll see us soon, Corey, for the last time. Shut the door, Rubeck.
Well, when I looked at this place, there's invisibility gadget is the only thing that could get us out. It's a heavy door and there's no window. Nothing know how to use the battery now. If they've been cleaned out, the they must have kept the room ready for a use like this. Look carefully, and every time I have to come before they overlook anything that could mean a way out of here. We're out of luck, sir. Anyway, we tried.
There's one place we haven't looked at.
Unless there's a trap door in the floor, I don't know where it'd be. There's a beam running across the ceiling. I'll boost you up if you need to. Well, sure, but I don't see what
You haven't much time. Just sit on my shoulder.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay, Commander.
All right, Hap. Get along the top of the beam. I'll walk from one side of the room to the other.
I don't think we'll find anything. There's barely enough room for my fingers between the beam and the ceiling.
Cover every inch very carefully. Find anything?
Just dust and some spider webs.
I'll move farther down.
Hold it, Commander. Here's something. It's a smooth strip of metal. Yeah, I guess it was... Whoa!
Endurium bar. Jump down, Hap. This may do it.
It's not very big, sir. You couldn't hammer the door down with that.
Yeah, but it may be thin enough to strip through the crack at the hinge side of the door. If Endurium doesn't bend, we may have an effective pull bar.
Let's try it.
We've only had another 2 minutes. No chance. This bar may come in here. You open the door, stand clear.
Yes, sir.
Come on out. I said come on out. You've got something behind your back, Corey. And you will notice I have a blaster in my hand. Now drop whatever it is you are hiding and don't come any closer. Now, if you don't drop that tool or whatever it is, I'll fire.
All right.
I see I returned just in time. By the way, Commander, our visit to the bank was quite profitable. I am now a millionaire.
Bojo, we've been tricked. What do you mean? It's crates we took from the warehouse. There's nothing in them but junk.
What?
Boxes. It's nothing but scrap metal and some old useless electronics equipment.
Rubeck, you fool. You loaded the wrong crate.
No, I didn't. The numbers checked with the list you gave me.
Got it. You had something to do with this.
You didn't think I was going to give you new equipment, did you?
Oh, that's how you happened to be in the warehouse, huh? You planted that information on one of my agents.
Right. I found out who he was from one of your men we've captured.
Why, you...
Watch it, Bojo. You'll blow a gasket.
And I show you that nobody makes a fool of Ralph Bojo. Your life isn't enough to pay for this swindle, Corey. The entire city is going to pay the penalty.
What are you talking about?
The United Planets are going to learn to respect me. And to teach them that lesson, I'm going to destroy Jupiter City.
Wait a minute, Bojo.
Shut up, Rubeck. Those explosives in the subcellar of this building. We are going to get them.
There isn't enough there to destroy a city this size, and anyway...
One bomb will do the job. If it's exploded in the right place. In the atmosphere plant.
But you can't be serious. You know what'll happen if that plant's blown up?
Of course. The atmosphere shell will be shattered. The heavy poisonous gases of Jupiter will pour into the city.
This mass murder of innocent people, what good is it going to do you?
It will teach the entire universe the folly of defying Ralph Bolger.
What about us? When the city down around our own heads isn't...
You idiot! You don't think I intend to stay here, do you? By the time the bomb explodes, we'll be thousands of miles away from Jupiter.
Brubeck, listen. Don't let this maniac force you to...
Shut up! I know what I'm doing. After you unload that junk out of the van, you are going to help Brubeck bring the bomb out from the cellar.
Moments later, an invisible truck bearing its deadly cargo rolls through the streets of the unsuspecting city toward the atmosphere plant. Leaving Brubeck at the truck to direct the protecting beam of invisibility, Bolger forces Buzz and Happy to carry the bomb to a vital part of the building.
Just keep going, gentlemen. A little faster, please.
How can we go faster? We can't even see. Why didn't you let us wear those electronic spectacles?
You might be distracted. Just a few steps more. There. Set the bomb down. Now, stand back. I'm going to set the timing device. And just remember, I'm still covering you with this blaster, so don't attempt anything daring.
How much time are you giving me?
Just a half an hour. The bomb will explode at 1600 hours. You may be interested to know that it is resting in a hollow space between two thick concrete walls.
So no one could possibly find it.
Exactly. And also, where it will do the most damage. Now, let us return to the truck. I'm rather anxious to get to the spaceport and blast off. I trust you understand.
Driven by Bolger, the invisible truck races to the spaceport, with Buzz and Happy in the rear under the watchful eyes of Brubeck. As the truck goes to a stop, Bolger calls back to his miniature spacephone.
Everything okay back there, Ruger?
Yes.
You wait here in the truck until I get the spaceship ready for blast off. I've loosened the bracket on the invisibility field transmitter so you can carry it with you to the ship.
All right.
And remember, keep that invisibility field on until you're aboard the ship.
Yes, I know. Get going, Bolger.
Okay. I'll take care of the money. When you leave the truck, lock Corey and the cadet inside. I'll see you later. Bolger out.
Brubeck, listen. You don't want the destruction of an entire city on your conscience. Let's go back and deactivate that bomb.
Are you crazy? Even if I wanted to, I couldn't find it. I was in the truck, remember? And you two weren't wearing electronic spectacles, so you couldn't find it either.
At least we could try.
Yes. What have you got to lose? It's different. I'm getting aboard that ship of Bolger. And my share of $1 million credits.
Brubeck, listen. Bolger will double-cross you sooner or later. He's done it to the other
Keep
guys.
quiet, Cadet. I'm getting ready to run for the ship when I hear the word from Bolger. I'm getting out of the truck. I want you to hand me that field transmitter. Remember, I've got this blaster ready. All right, Corey. Bring me the transmitter.
Okay. It's rather heavy.
Corey, you clumsy fool. You shut off the field.
Well, so I have.
Brubeck, what's the matter with you? Why did you cut off that field?
Are you ready to blast off?
You idiot! What do you think the guards will do when they see the big truck suddenly appear out of nothing in the middle of the blast-off strip?
Corey did it. Shall I come aboard now?
You bungler! I can see two patrol cars heading this way now. To take the truck off the strip, I'm blasting off.
No, Bolger. Wait for me.
The bomb! You can't leave me here! Wait, Bolger, wait!
Done.
We're in the same fix we are now, Brubeck. Might as well help us find that bomb.
I've still got a chance. A small private cruiser over there. I'm blasting off when I catch up with Bolger. That's Satchel there in the truck. The joke's on Bolger. He took the wrong satchel. The bank money's in this one. Come on, or I'll blast you.
Give it to him.
Yes. Now, heading to that cruiser. If anybody tries to stop me, I'll blast them to bits. So long, Commander.
Commander, can't we do anything to stop him?
I think so. I've got my pair of electronic spectacles. Somewhere here in the truck.
Yes, sir.
I'll get this field transmitter to work again. It's on. I don't know if I can focus it on you, but...
Here are the goggles, sir.
Thanks. Find a pair for yourself. The trucker's going to be invisible in a few seconds. Then the patrol cars won't see it. That's not important now, Hap. Let me have that miniature spacer phone. Yes, sir. Commander, Rubeck's almost at the cruiser. Rubeck, this is Commander Corey. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thanks for making me invisible.
How do you think you're going to operate a spaceship when your hands will pass completely through the controls?
What?
Remember, the ship will still be solid matter, and you're practically a phantom, a ghost.
Corey, come off the field.
I'm getting the orders now. You're going to help us locate that bomb. It's your only chance to save your own skin.
All right. You win, Corey.
Now throw that blaster down and come back to the truck.
Well, the rocket, Commander, it's 10 minutes to 1600. We've got 10 minutes to save Jupiter City.
With a thoroughly frightened Rubeck between them in the front seat of the truck, Buzz and Happy rushed the huge, invisible vehicle through the streets to the atmosphere plant. Then they watched carefully as Rubeck, trembling with fear, adjusts the transmitter, projecting a beam of invisibility through a solid structure of the plant.
There. That's the way I had it adjusted before.
All right. Come on, Rubeck. Let's get that bomb.
I'll wait here at the transmitter. Something may go wrong.
It's sure to go wrong if you're here.
Yeah, after we shut the bomb off, you'd cut the field transmitter and leave us stuck somewhere inside a concrete wall.
No, I promise.
We're taking no chances. Come on.
No. Well, I won't go in there without someone to watch these things. I don't want to be buried alive.
We haven't got time to argue, Rubeck.
Let go of me!
This'll keep you quiet.
I hope he stays out cold until we get back.
If we don't hurry, we won't get there. 2 minutes, that bomb will go on. Come on, Hap.
I sure hope we're going in the right direction.
From the distance we walked to Beaujeu, the bomb must be in the east part of the building.
Well, that isn't much help. It would take hours to search between all the walls, and we've only got a minute.
Now, wait, Hap. Remember, Beaujeu made us turn to the left. Keep us from going down a ramp to the third level.
Yeah, that's right. That means we're on the second level.
That's this one. I know where it is now. Hurry.
I hope you're right, Commander. Oh, wow, look at the time. In a few seconds, that bomb is going to blow Jupiter City clear off the planet.
There's a ramp, Happy. Now turn left, right through this wall.
Yes, sir.
Now we're in the space between two walls.
Commander, listen. Hear that?
A timing device. We're close to it. Here, this way.
There it is.
I hope we can figure out how to deactivate this thing.
10 seconds, Commander. It's getting ready to go off.
If this isn't the right control, we're finished.
Commander, this is something I never thought I'd be able to see.
What is it, Pepper?
It's now 10 seconds after 1600.
Time to get to work. I love this bomb. Pick up at the truck and put it over to the munitions office. Come on.
Hey, Rubeck, wake up. Snap out of it. You've slept long enough.
The bomb. What about the bomb?
Oh, it's all taken care of. Safe and deactivated in the back of the truck.
Sit up, Rubeck. I'm driving you to headquarters.
Whenever I get my hands on him.
Oh, you'll be seeing him very soon, Rubeck, at the Criminal Rehab Center.
Right, Hap. Now that we've got an invisibility field transmitter, we can fight Beaujeu with his own weapons.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Space Patrollers, can you pass this quiz? What does every active, alert fellow and girl need every single morning?
A good hot breakfast.
Right. Now, what's the best hot breakfast drink there is?
Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa.
100% correct. It's an easy quiz because we all know that for a real warm-up pep, you want to start your day the Nestle way. Just put 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls of Nestle in your cup, add hot water, and it's all made, all ready to drink. And man, what sensational flavor. Rich, chocolatey, delicious. There's no other drink like it. Why don't you tell Mom about Nestle? Remember, the rich whole milk and sugar are already in it, so you don't add a thing but water. And here's the final question. What do you look for at your grocery store?
Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa. Bright red can.
Nestle's Ever-Ready. You said it.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are on Neptune following the criminal Ralph Beaujeu into a deserted factory building. An invisibility transmitter concealed outside enables them to trail Beaujeu through the solid walls of a huge metal tank.
Wow, it sure dark in here.
I've a chance to close in on Bolger. Let me step through the other side of the tank. Rush him.
Yes, sir. Commander, the wall is solid. We can't get through.
Something happened to our invisibility field transmitter. We're sealed inside the tank.
Be with us again next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, Escape from Neptune. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Ken Mayer, Bela Kovach, and Tony Sides. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa, Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.